Chapter 155. Roar. The deep roar of a beast reached Su Yi's ears, but it was the language of beasts. This is the blood jade spirit ginseng, right? I heard that it can directly increase one's cultivation after consuming it. Where did this blood jade spirit ginseng come from? Did Sir bring it in? Is it really the blood jade spirit ginseng? I heard that it's a treasure. I really want to eat it. The muttering of beasts reached Su Yi's ears. Go away. If you dare to come over, Grandpa Ginseng will not be polite to you. A voice that sounded like that of an old man spread out. Su Yi immediately looked over and saw that the white jade mystic bird, hell rat, snow jade savage ape, silver spirit butterfly, and even Debeo and Xiaoling had all awakened and were surrounding the pool of spiritual liquid. The ferocious eyes on the heads of the savage beasts were all staring at the blood jade spirit ginseng. Especially the hell rat and fire demon mink, their mouths were almost drooling. At this moment, the blood jade spirit ginseng was standing in the middle of the pool of spiritual liquid with a vigilant look. Its body was emitting a green and red light as it stared at the golden python, flame-eyed savage tiger, and the others with fear. Sir is awake. Greetings, sir. Seeing that Su Yi had awakened, the flame-eyed savage tiger, flame-eyed savage bird, and the others immediately ran over and bowed to Su Yi. Sir, Debeo and Xiaoling flew down from the flame-eyed savage tiger's back and landed on Su Yi's body. Debeo and Xiaoling wrapped around Su Yi's left and right arms and licked Su Yi's face intimately. Very good. Latest chapter AR section # Su Yi could sense that all of the beasts before him had achieved breakthroughs in their cultivation states one after another. This was especially the case for those who had consumed the spirit essence. Su Yi was extremely pleased. Su Yi felt that Debeo, Xiaoling, and Su Yi had become much stronger. Then, when Su Yi looked at the blood jade spirit ginseng in the pool of spiritual liquid, the smile on his face suddenly turned gloomy. My spiritual liquid. Su Yi's heart ached. Originally, there's a lot of spiritual liquid in the pool, but now it had all dried up and not a single drop was left. On the other hand, the blood jade spirit ginseng had changed from its original miserable and sorry state. Its entire body was translucent and suffused with light, and the few leaves at the top were sparkling and verdant. Its entire body was suffused with a dense fragrance that caused others to have the feeling of drooling. Are you a human or a demon? Your aura. Before Su spoke, the blood jade spirit ginseng asked Su Yi was. Seeing that Su Yi was so close to so many savage beasts and had a strange aura, the blood jasper ginseng couldn't help but feel surprised. You lost all the spirit liquids in here? Su Yi wasn't in the mood to reply to this blood jade spirit ginseng, although he had thought it through and didn't care about the spirit liquid anymore. But now, seeing that there was not a single drop of spiritual liquid left, Su Yi's heart could not help but feel uncomfortable again. This spiritual liquid is not ordinary. It is a treasure. Do you have any more? If you give me some more, I should be able to completely recover. The blood jade spirit ginseng's eyes lit up, and its roots fluttered. It looked at Su Yi and asked with an expectant gaze. This spiritual liquid was a treasure, and it had a great effect on it. Damn radish, I'll cut you up and make you into soup right now. Su Yi was angry. This was a great treasure, and he was reluctant to drink it. This radish actually had the nerve to ask him for it. Whoosh! Su Yi unsheathed the large saber on his back. He wanted to directly cut the blood jade spirit ginseng. At worst, he could dry it and make ginseng tea for his grandfather. Maybe the effect would be good. Hey boy, don't you dare. You're not my opponent. If you dare to be disrespectful to me, you will have to bear the consequences. The blood jade spirit ginseng's roots stood upright, and its eyes were filled with green and red light. It had a dignified appearance, and it was warning Su Yi. Su Yi raised the large saber in his hand and held it horizontally in the air. He was somewhat afraid. This blood jade spirit ginseng seemed to be at the demon illusionary realm, which was equivalent to an expert at the origin void realm. No. However, Su Yi was suspicious. This blood jade spirit ginseng seemed to be afraid of the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the hell rat. It did not seem to be very strong, and it seemed to be bluffing. Could it be a fake blood jade spirit ginseng? He suspected. Otherwise, a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng would not be afraid of the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other savage beasts. I want to see what the consequences are. Su Yi's expression changed, and he directly slashed at the blood jade spirit ginseng with his saber. Bastard boy, don't you dare! The blood jade spirit ginseng's expression suddenly changed, and it cursed. However, it immediately jumped out of the spiritual liquid pool in a panic. Its speed was extremely fast, like lightning. As expected, you are bluffing. Where do you think you're going? Today I must cut you into pieces. He cursed. He was almost fooled by this radish. This is probably not the blood jade spirit ginseng. When he thought that this was a fake radish, and that it actually ruined his spiritual liquid, Su Yi's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. How could he let go of this fake radish? Su Yi immediately chased after it and slashed. Boy, wait until I recover. I will not let you go. The blood jade spirit ginseng also cursed, but that small figure escaped very quickly. I will cut you into pieces right now. Su Yi was furious and chased after it. Anyway, the space was only so big, this radish could not run far. Swoosh, swoosh. The blood jade spirit ginseng's figure was like lightning, shuttling back and forth among the spiritual herbs planted by Su Yi. Snow ape, firebird surrounded. Su Yi said to the snow jade barbaric ape and the other savage beasts. He did not dare to spoil the spiritual herbs. Oh, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other savage beasts had long wanted to intervene. They immediately stepped forward and surrounded the blood jade spirit ginseng. I am too lazy to play with you. You can't catch me at all. This place seems to be very mysterious and strange, and it is very beneficial for me. I can rest here. The blood jade spirit ginseng hid among the spiritual herbs and looked at the encirclement. There was no way to escape, but it did not panic. It even looked at Su Yi with ridicule in its eyes. Then its body emitted a green and red light, and it was about to escape into the ground. But in just a moment, the blood jade spirit ginseng seemed to want to escape into the ground, but it suddenly looked surprised. I don't want to sleep anymore. I found that the ground was very strange. It seemed that its talent had lost its effect, and it could not escape at all. Ah, boy, let go of me. Immediately, the blood jade spirit ginseng suddenly shouted. Its body was involuntarily pulled out of the pit. At this moment, Su Yi's face was full of anger. He was holding a few leaves of the radish and pulled it out. This fake blood jade spirit ginseng actually ruined his spiritual liquid. How could Su Yi let it go? I'm not letting go. What can you do? Su Yi said angrily. This fake radish actually dared to threaten him. It was indeed not the blood jade spirit ginseng. Otherwise, how could he deal with a demonic illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng? Boy, do you really think Grandpa Ginseng is a vegetarian? Chapter 156. Boom! This aura was extraordinary, and it shook the entire area. This aura was indeed very powerful. Su Yi was blown away, and he fell heavily on the ground a few feet away. The blood jasper spirit ginseng also got rid of Su Yi's hand, and it was about to escape again. Boom! Suddenly, a dazzling ray of light shot out from the depths of the mysterious space like a bolt of lightning. This light was like a thunderbolt, and it carried an extremely powerful aura. It was as powerful as a thunderbolt, and it directly fell on the blood jasper spirit ginseng. Bang! The blood jasper spirit ginseng's body was covered with electric arcs, and it fell to the ground, emitting black smoke. Ah! The blood jasper spirit ginseng screamed as if it was being punished by the gods. It kept rolling on the ground. Ow! The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the golden python were crawling on the ground, looking at the sky as if they were worshipping it. This majestic aura made them tremble in fear. Su Yi stood up. Although he was blown away, he did not seem to be injured. Shoot! Looking at the scene in front of him, Su Yi was a little surprised. It seemed that the mysterious space was dealing with a fake radish. At this moment, the blood jasper spirit ginseng was in a terrible state after being hit. Black smoke came out from the green leaves, and it was no longer transparent. It was like a frosted eggplant. Continue to run if you have the ability. Sui did not know why the mysterious space would take action, but he was not surprised. He could not let the fake radish run away again. He immediately rushed up and grabbed the blood jasper spirit ginseng. Kid, what do you want? The blood jasper spirit ginseng was still in fear. That terrifying power was too terrifying. More importantly, that terrifying power contained an extremely powerful aura. It was like a supreme emperor, which made the blood jasper spirit ginseng's hair stand on end. It cannot resist at all. You swallowed so much of my spiritual liquid. I can only stew you. Sui gritted his teeth and said, so much spiritual liquid had been swallowed by the fake radish. He could only stew it and drink it to see if he could make up for his losses. Sui reckoned that if this fake radish was not a blood jade spirit ginseng, it would not be simple. Maybe he would not lose much. Isn't it just a bit of spirit elixir? Kid, let's talk about it. Once I recover, I'll give you some random things. That should be enough to compensate you for the spirit elixir. The blood jade spirit ginseng was held in Suyi's hand. Its roots had already withered, and its momentum was gone. Its whole body was dim, as if it no longer had the strength to escape. Do you think I'll believe your words? Sui laughed unhappily. How could he possibly believe the words of this fake radish? I'm a blood jade spirit ginseng, a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng. Even a root of me is worth a celestial great elixir of you humans. The blood jade spirit ginseng said helplessly. This was like a tiger being bullied by dogs, a dragon being teased by shrimps in shallow waters. It was a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng, but now it was being held in the hand of a little human. It did not look like a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng at all. Not to mention the blood jade spirit ginseng. Sui was even angrier at the mention of it. Originally, Sui thought that he could heal his grandfather, who knew that he would encounter a fake radish. Not only did it cheat him of his spiritual liquid, it even deceived his feelings at this time. Blood jade spirit ginseng. You're a blood jade spirit ginseng. I think you're fake. The more Sui thought about it, the angrier he became. He kept shaking the blood jade spirit ginseng. Although this fake radish looked very similar to the blood jade spirit ginseng, how could it be a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng? Kid, I'm really a blood jade spirit ginseng, a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng. Do you have eyes? The blood jade spirit ginseng was in a terrible state. The smoking leaves on top of it were about to be flung off. It was so angry that it was glaring, feeling wronged. How could a demon illusionary realm blood jade spirit ginseng fall into my hands? How could Sui believe this fake radish? I'm a blood jade spirit ginseng, not a savage beast. I love peace. Besides, I fail my tribulation. It's already good that I didn't die. I'm not your opponent. The blood jade spirit ginseng spoke very sincerely, as if it was really afraid that Sui would stew it. Sui's eyes moved, his expression suspicious. He did not know whether this blood jade spirit ginseng was telling the truth or not. I'm telling the truth. I'm a blood jade spirit ginseng. Although I've reached the demon illusionary realm, I'm not a savage beast. I don't have much strength to deal with anyone. I'm only good at hiding. As if it saw Sui's suspicion, the blood jade spirit ginseng continued. You failed your tribulation? Sui stared at the blood jade spirit ginseng, feeling a bit curious. Correct. Not long ago, when I broke through to the demon illusionary realm, I was about to pass my tribulation. But I was affected by several demon emperor realm savage beasts, and had no choice but to flee here. Although I was affected a lot, the tribulation was imminent. I didn't have time to prepare or wait. I wanted to pass my tribulation by force, but failed. Then I happened to see this space. It seemed to be able to protect me, so I walked in. Then I saw you and your spirit liquid. Now you know the result. The blood jade spirit ginseng spoke very wrongly, almost tearing up with every word. It could be considered extremely unlucky. It had endured until it broke through to the demon illusionary realm, but in the end it was discovered by a demon emperor realm expert. It failed its tribulation, and now it fell into the hands of this strange kid. Tribulation. He had heard that demonic beasts and spiritual beings were different from humans. When they reached the demon illusionary realm, they had to pass their tribulation. When they reached the demon emperor realm, they had to pass their tribulation. What will happen if you fail your tribulation? He looked at the blood jade spirit ginseng and asked. He still had some doubts about whether this fake radish was really the blood jade spirit ginseng that failed its tribulation. Originally, even if I didn't die, I would return to my original form. But your strange space saved me. However, I failed my tribulation, and my demon illusionary realm is unstable. After a while, I'm afraid my realm will drop. If I want to pass my tribulation again, it will be even more difficult. The chances are slim. The blood jade spirit ginseng's voice was somewhat desolate. It was still a failure. Although your words sound convincing, I still won't believe you. He shook his head. This was all said by the fake radish. It might not be true. Kid, Grandpa Ginseng has lived for several hundred years. Why would I lie to you? The blood jade spirit ginseng shouted. This kid still didn't believe it. Unless you can prove that you're the blood jade spirit ginseng, I'll stew you right now. He looked at the blood jade spirit ginseng in his hand. He didn't seem to be joking at all. The blood jade spirit ginseng was so angry that it glared at Su-yi, but there was nothing it could do. Finally, it clenched its teeth and said, "How about this? You can pluck one of my roots and eat it. Although I'm very weak right now, it will definitely bring you great benefits." How about this? He was suspicious. He was hesitating whether or not there was a trap. What if this fake radish was tricking him? What if there was poison in the roots? Okay, I'll believe you this time. After a moment, he made his decision. He plucked a thick root from the blood jade spirit ginseng's body. Chapter 157. Take good care of this radish. Ignoring the blood jasper spirit ginseng screams, Su-yi threw the blood jasper spirit ginseng to the golden python. Swish! The golden python's body glowed and wrapped the blood jasper spirit ginseng tightly around its body. It stood upright and flicked its tongue. Its fierce eyes stared at the blood jasper spirit ginseng, as if it wouldn't mind swallowing it if it didn't behave. Roar! The hell rat, fiery tiger, and fiery red demon mink all stared at the blood jasper spirit ginseng. These few savage beasts were all drooling, as if they couldn't wait for the blood jasper spirit ginseng to be disobedient so that they would have a reason to swallow it. The blood jasper spirit ginseng was very sad. It wanted to cry, but had no tears. A demon illusionary realm expert that had cultivated for hundreds of years was like a dragon in shallow water being played by shrimps. Is it really the blood jasper spirit ginseng? At this moment, Su-yi stared at the blood jasper spirit ginseng in his hand and was carefully thinking about it. The surface of the root looked dim, but the broken section was crystal clear. The green and red light spread out as if spiritual liquid was about to flow out. It really had a drooling aura. Let's try it. Under the drooling aura, Su-yi secretly gritted his teeth and decided to swallow it. Rumor had it that if it was the real blood jasper spirit ginseng, it could increase one's cultivation if consumed directly. Su-yi estimated that this demon illusionary realm blood jasper spirit ginseng's root was enough for him to refine. Sitting cross-legged, Su-yi swallowed the root in his hand and chewed it like a radish. When the root entered his mouth, Su-yi's eyes suddenly lit up. The root seemed to melt in his mouth and turned into a hot liquid that rushed into Su-yi's throat. Gulp! Su-yi's throat burned subconsciously, and he swallowed it. Boom! A strong aura gushed out from Su-yi's body. It was like a spiritual aura overflowing with green and red light. It rushed out from Su-yi's body. The brilliant and dazzling light enveloped Su-yi. Su-yi sat cross-legged on the ground. Immediately, his entire body glowed, and a green-red radiance gushed out from the pores of his cells. The golden python, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the others all looked at Su-Yi curiously. They seemed to have felt something, and their throats felt hot. There seems to be a huge benefit. The scarlet fire demon mink said, occasionally staring at the blood jasper spirit ginseng that was tightly coiled around by the golden python, as if it also wanted to take a bite. How does the blood jade spirit ginseng taste? The netherworld rodent's saliva was about to drip all over the floor. It had heard of the blood jade spirit ginseng before. If such a precious treasure were to spread out, it would be enough to cause a commotion everywhere. Even if it was just some roots, it would be satisfied. Brat, you're only at the soul essence realm. It has nothing to do with me if you choke to death. The blood jade spirit ginseng was flabbergasted. That brat was only an essence soul realm rookie, yet he had directly swallowed its thickest spirit whisker. Wouldn't he explode? What a powerful energy. Refine. At this moment, Su-Yi's eyes lit up, and his suspicious face was immediately filled with joy. The spirit whisker turned into a surge of energy in his body, and he immediately activated the Origin Supreme technique to absorb and refine the energy in his body. What a powerful aura. Is it a human or a demon? When it felt the aura of the Origin Supreme technique on Su-Yi's body, the blood jade spirit ginseng was surprised. This kind of aura shouldn't appear on a human's body. Even the blood jade spirit ginseng felt suppressed by it. Walala. Soon, Su-Yi's body was enveloped by a green and red light. The light overflowed from his pores, shining with a sparkling luster. However, Su-Yi's body wasn't in a good condition either. The energy was too powerful, and it seemed as if it was going to burst out from Su-Yi's body. Su-Yi firmly suppressed the energy in his body and sat cross-legged on the ground, using all his strength to suppress the majestic energy in his body. Su-Yi forcefully endured the energy that was tearing his internal organs apart. He activated the Origin Supreme technique to refine it, and an overbearing aura burst out to suppress the surging energy. Rumble. Soon, a rumbling sound of wind and thunder came out from Su-Yi's body. The green and red light around his body became even more resplendent, as if it was going to drown this space. Multicolored light filled the air, and a medicinal fragrance filled the air, causing the entire space to shine. It smells so good, I want to eat it. Debeo and Little Spirit Ginseng were salivating under the medicinal fragrance. They really want to take a bite. After Sir consumes it, we will have a chance in the future. The netherworld rat said to Debeo and Little Spirit Ginseng. Its eyes were rolling, and from time to time, it would sweep past the blood jade spirit ginseng. Don't you dare. Don't have any ideas about me. The blood jade spirit ginseng was furious. It looked at the netherworld rat, but it was so scared that its roots shrank. It didn't want to be plucked again. I can do it. Refine. Su-Yi was still clenching his teeth. His body was enveloped by the green and red light, and it was dazzling as it shuttled back and forth in his body. His entire body was covered by the blood jade spirit ginseng. The impact of the energy was very powerful. If it was an ordinary 9th-level Origin Monarch, they would have been blown up like a balloon. Fortunately, Su-Yi's body wasn't to be underestimated. The Origin Demon Body's 1st-level Diamond Body allowed his body to be as tough as diamond. It was enough to be much stronger than savage beasts of the same level. Time passed slowly. Su-Yi clenched his teeth and suppressed the surging energy in his body. At the same time, the energy from the blood jade spirit ginseng's roots, other than being refined into celestial chi and used up in the energy sea in his dantian, was also slowly integrated into Su-Yi's body. The energy was flowing in Su-Yi's muscles, bones, and muscles, causing his body to be even more dazzling and sparkling. It was as if he had undergone another baptism. At the same time, the energy was rushing into Su-Yi's mind to nourish his soul. This kind of energy could not only increase one's cultivation, but also nourish one's body and soul. This kind of energy was too vast and vigorous for Su-Yi. It was hard to believe that a mere spiritual whisker could have such a surging energy. Will my lord be all right? The energy is surging. The white jade mystic bird was a little worried. It felt that the energy was very powerful and was afraid that Su-Yi wouldn't be able to withstand it. No, my lord is not ordinary. It won't be a problem for my lord. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger had absolute confidence. A long time had passed. A full day had passed, but the impact of the energy on Su-Yi's body didn't seem to have any signs of weakening. Boom! The impact of the energy in Su-Yi's body made Su-Yi's body shine brightly, but at the same time, his body trembled violently. The violent impact of the energy caused Su-Yi's internal organs, bones, and muscles to be cleansed, producing a sonorous sound. At this time, the abnormal power of Su-Yi's diamond body was revealed. His whole body was shining, flashing with light, and erupting with fluctuations that suppressed everything. He did not know when it started, but Su-Yi's aura had also started to rise. This kind of rising speed was like a rocket, very fast, rushing straight up. Boom! Chapter 158. In Su-Yi's mind, there was a faint scarlet soul fluctuation and an imposing aura. At this moment, the blood jasper spiritual ginseng's energy seemed to have attracted Su-Yi's soul, causing it to fluctuate. This kind of aura had only appeared when Su-Yi had broken through to the 8th level of the soul essence realm. In that mysterious, illusory realm, everything had been buried at the end of the primordial era. The aura in the illusory realm was blazing. In a daze, something rushed into Su-Yi's soul, wanting to burn Su-Yi's soul. However, when Su-Yi woke up, his soul seemed to have undergone a transformation. At this moment, because of the blood jasper spiritual ginseng's energy, Su-Yi's soul once again had this kind of terrifying aura. Q6 head and hair, what a powerful aura! The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and snow jade barbaric ape were dumbfounded. Under that terrifying aura, they couldn't help but tremble and crawl involuntarily. The silver spirit demonic butterfly, white jade mystic bird, and blazing barbaric bird spread their wings and lay on the ground, their eyes filled with shock. The blood jasper spiritual ginseng was also shocked. It couldn't believe what it was seeing. This strange human was too unbelievable. In Su-Yi's mind, there was a light fluctuation. A faint scarlet light fluctuated, shaking the surroundings and turning into a surging light. At this moment, the scarlet light in Su-Yi's mind became brighter and brighter, as if a small sun was awakening, dazzling and resplendent. Strands of light were as bright as the galaxy, gathering towards the center. At this moment, Su-Yi could clearly feel that his soul strength was strengthening, as if it contained a special kind of power, as if it was awakening. This kind of power seemed to be the same as the mysterious power that had dealt with the Black Fiend sex guardian, Hagio. Heavenly origin demonic soul. Suddenly, Su-Yi's heart trembled, as if something had happened. The first level of the immemorial demonic body was the diamond body, and the second level was the heavenly origin demonic soul. The first level of the immemorial demonic body was the diamond body, which was used to temper the body. The second level of the heavenly origin demonic soul was to absorb all kinds of souls. Regardless of whether it was a savage beast or a human, he could absorb all souls and refine them with the origin supreme art to strengthen and temper his soul. The heavenly origin demon soul carried the souls of all living beings to strengthen his own soul, cruel and tyrannical. Most importantly, he needed absolute strength. Therefore, even though he knew the cultivation method of the heavenly origin demon soul, Su-Yi did not even think about it during this period of time. With his soul essence realm cultivation, using other people's souls to strengthen himself was undoubtedly a fool's dream. But now, Su-Yi felt that this feeling was similar to the feeling of the Tian Yuan demonic soul. Could it be? Su-Yi immediately thought that the blood jade spirit ginseng was a spiritual object and also a part of the demon clan. Although it was not a soul, it had the effect of nourishing the soul. Therefore, he had inadvertently helped himself by allowing the heavenly origin demonic spirit to start cultivating. Walala. In his mind, his soul aura fluctuated like ripples. It carried a domineering and majestic aura, as if it could suppress the primordial era and look down on the world. The mysterious space isolated everything. He sat cross-legged. His whole body was enveloped in a dazzling light, blazing like the sun. From Yi's body, a divine radiance spread out, emitting waves of fluctuations. It was as if a mysterious power had crossed through time and space, descending from the primordial era. Everything continued like this. The light on Yi's body became more and more dazzling, gradually emitting bursts of thunder. After 3 days, Yi finally no longer felt uncomfortable. Most of the surging energy had been refined and was no longer a threat. Yi's body was glowing. The enormous energy in his body was integrated into his body, refining and absorbing it for his own use. In his mind, Yi's soul was glowing. It was as if it was condensing together, emitting a blazing and dazzling light. This is the heavenly origin demon soul. Yi was pleasantly surprised. Ever since he walked out of the barbarian city, when his grandfather was injured, when he was thrown down the cliff by the sacred mountain, when he was chased by the Black Fiend sect, and when he was unscrupulously searched a few days ago, Yi had always yearned to strengthen himself and become a strong expert one day. This goal in Yi's heart became more and more firm, more and more unshakable. The heavenly origin demon soul and the second level of the mixed Yuan demon body were very important to Yi. At this time, the heavenly origin demon soul was beginning to be cultivated. Yi was ecstatic, feeling the aura in his soul. It was as if his soul contained an emperor. One day, when the heavenly origin demon soul was successfully cultivated, it would be a step further and more powerful. I must cultivate the heavenly origin demon soul as soon as possible. He gritted his teeth, but he was not overjoyed. He was afraid that with this blood jade spirit ginseng's root, it would be impossible to cultivate the heavenly origin demon soul. When he cultivated the diamond body, it took him 3 years. As the energy from the blood jade spirit ginseng's root decreased, the aura in Yi's body became stronger and stronger. His body was emitting light. My lord's aura is so strong. Is he about to break through? The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger laid on the ground, its bell-like eyes fluctuating. Although his lord's aura was only at the 9th level of the soul essence realm, it made the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger feel fear. The aura seemed to resonate with the heavens and earth, and the pressure was impressive. After a total of 5 days, Yi's rising aura and dazzling light calmed down. Boom! However, after a short pause, a new aura burst out from Yi's body and swept through the mysterious space. Rumble. At this moment, Yi's body shone brightly again. A powerful aura shook his robe and swept through the surroundings, startling the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the white jade mystic bird. The profound Yuan realm. This human has broken through. Inside the crevice of the golden python's body, the blood jade spirit ginseng's eyes changed. It was very surprised that the human brat was fine. He withstood it and even broke through so smoothly. My lord's aura is so strong. The scarlet fire demonic marten and the snow jade barbaric ape were shocked. They could feel that Yi's aura was at the first level of the profound Yuan realm. However, the degree of strength was not to be underestimated. It was not something that a human of the same level could compare with. In fact, even savage beasts of the same cultivation realm couldn't possibly compare to him. Swish, the aura calmed down, and Yi opened his eyes. The dazzling light in his eyes was immediately restrained. Phew! Yi exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Before he could feel the changes after the breakthrough, he could already feel the changes in his body. Everything was getting stronger. This kind of increase was not a small step. It was increasing exponentially. Physical body, dantian, profound chi ocean, soul, everything had changed. His bones and muscles were stronger. His yuan chi was abundant. and the soul in his mind was filled with light. When all of this gathered together, it also released a powerful aura, giving him a feeling of power. Congratulations, my lord, for breaking through. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the fiery-eyed barbaric bird were overjoyed and congratulated Su-Yi for breaking through. You can let me go now. Grandpa, I am the Blood Jade Spirit Ginseng. Let me go. The Blood Jade Spirit Ginseng's voice came from the crevice of the golden python. Let go of the radish, Su-Yi said with joy in his eyes. He was very satisfied. He did not expect to break through to the profound Yuan realm just by eating a radish. He felt that the profound Yuan realm was not difficult. Chapter 159. A single strand of the origin void realm blood jade spirit ginseng was a treasure. If the blood jade spirit ginseng was at its peak, it would be worth as much as a high-tier celestial medicinal pill. Its value was boundless. It might not be difficult for the direct disciples of large sects to obtain a celestial medicinal pill to break through to the profound origin realm, but it would be absolutely impossible for them to use a single strand of the blood jade spirit ginseng to break through to the profound origin realm. In fact, a single strand of the blood jade spirit ginseng was much better. Hearing Su-Yi's words, the golden python let go of the blood jade spirit ginseng. Since my lord broke through, I also want to eat this blood jade spirit ginseng. Debeo and Little Spirit climbed onto Su-Yi's shoulder and looked at the blood jade spirit ginseng with shining eyes. Okay, I'll give it to you in the future. Su-Yi smiled and his eyes lit up. A single strand of the blood jade spirit ginseng had so many effects. He could make good use of it in the future. In your dreams, Grandpa Ginseng swears to death. The blood jade spirit ginseng stared at Su-Yi as if it was looking at death calmly. Don't worry, I didn't say I'm going to pull out your strand now. Besides, in your current state, I'll have to wait until you recover. Besides, if I pull out a strand of your strand, you'll grow it back. It's not a big deal for you. Why are you so stingy? Su-Yi looked at the blood jade spirit ginseng with a much better attitude. At this moment, Su-Yi was completely convinced that this was the rumored blood jasper spirit ginseng that had broken through to the origin void realm. Whether or not his grandfather could recover completely or even advance further would depend on this blood jasper spirit ginseng. In your dreams, do you think you can pull out Grandpa Ginseng's strand just because you want to? The blood jade spirit ginseng was very depressed. What kind of brat did it meet? He seemed different from ordinary humans. Chapter A of the 3rd edition. H. It doesn't matter. I'll just pull out a bit less in the future. Su-Yi smiled embarrassedly. His eyes darkened as he said to the blood jade spirit ginseng, Grandpa Ginseng, you really are the blood jade spirit ginseng. How did you end up in such a sorry state? Do you believe that Grandpa Ginseng is the blood jade ginseng now? The blood jade spirit ginseng looked as if it had just received justice. It shook its whiskers and said to Su-Yi, Didn't I tell you? My breakthrough was disturbed, and I didn't have time to prepare. I failed my tribulation and ended up in this space. Looking around, the blood jasper ginseng seemed to have some lingering fear of this space, but when it looked at the medicine field, its expression changed. It put on an indifferent expression and continued to say to Su-Yi, Do you have any more of that spirit liquid? That spirit liquid is very useful to me. I helped you break through a layer, so if you give me some spirit liquid, we'll be even. You used up all the spirit elixir, okay? When it came to the spirit elixir, Su-Yi felt a bit of heartache. However, after confirming that this was the blood jade spirit ginseng, and that he had obtained a huge benefit and directly broken through to the Yuan profound realm, Su-Yi's mood became much better. Since that's the case, how about this? I'm injured right now, so I'll recuperate here for a while. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to continue my initial tribulation. The blood jade spirit ginseng looked at Su-Yi as it spoke. It carefully looked at Su-Yi as if it wanted to catch the change in Su-Yi's expression. There was a hint of regret in its eyes. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Grandpa Ginseng can rest assured and recuperate here. Su-Yi's expression changed slightly, but he didn't reveal anything. He said to the blood jade spirit ginseng. But didn't Grandpa Ginseng fail your tribulation? How can you continue? I did fail, but strictly speaking, it wasn't a complete failure. I just dodged it, the blood jade spirit ginseng said. It looked at Sue-E with a somewhat evasive gaze. When I was about to undergo my initial tribulation, I couldn't withstand it at all. I thought I was doomed, but your appearance seemed to be related to this mysterious place and interfered with my initial tribulation. Therefore, my initial tribulation could be considered a failure, but I only dodged it. Although it will have a huge impact on me in the future, I still have a chance to attempt it again. However, the next tribulation will probably be several times more difficult, making it even more difficult. Is that so? Suyi's expression changed. At the beginning, he had heard the blood jade spirit ginseng mention that if it failed its tribulation, even if it didn't die, it would return to its original state. However, because of the mysterious space, although the blood jade spirit ginseng failed its tribulation, it still managed to dodge it. Right now, it's just that the Yuan profound realm is unstable, and after a period of time, its realm will drop. If it wants to attempt the initial tribulation again, it will be even more difficult. Grandpa Ginseng, rest assured and recuperate here. Sue-E turned around and smiled. After a while, Sue-E left the mysterious space with the snow jade savage ape, the fire-eyed savage tiger, and the golden python. When Sue-E and the others left, the blood jade spirit ginseng's expression immediately revealed a shocked expression. It muttered, "Such a precious place. What kind of place is this? Where did this kid come from? If I can really recuperate here for a period of time, I'm afraid I'll definitely have a chance to pass my initial tribulation again. My lord, in the future, I can really eat that blood jade spirit ginseng. It should taste good." In the wet cave, the sound of a waterfall could be heard outside the cave. Debeo was wrapped around Suyi's shoulder, still somewhat unable to forget about it. The blood jasper spirit ginseng emitted a rich medicinal fragrance that was irresistible to savage beasts. "There will be a chance," Sue-E said with a smile. "My lord, I've heard that the blood jade spirit ginseng is very cunning. You should be careful," the golden python reminded Sue-E. It was somewhat worried about the blood jade spirit ginseng. "It is indeed very cunning," Sue-E said with a smile. The blood jade spirit ginseng had been tortured by pulling its whiskers, but it did not even mention leaving the mysterious space. How could Sue-E not understand that the mysterious space could enhance the quality and efficacy of elixirs? It would definitely be of great benefit to the blood jade spirit ginseng. The blood jade spirit ginseng must have discovered that the mysterious space had great benefits for it, so it did not want to come out. Of course, this was more beneficial to Sue-E. When the blood jade spirit ginseng's efficacy improved, it would be better for his grandfather. Anyway, he did not plan to let the blood jade spirit ginseng go. Then, Sue-E told the golden python, the white jade savage bird, and the others what had happened recently. There were several Demon Emperor stage savage beasts nearby. Demon Emperor stage. Hearing this, the golden python, fire-eyed savage tiger, and the others' eyes lit up. They were filled with anticipation and yearning. With their bloodline, it would be a miracle if they could reach the demon spirit realm in their lifetime. In terms of cultivation, the most important thing for humans was talent. Chapter 160. This was also the reason why those large sects would first check the talent of their disciples before accepting them. No mountain sect could spread their resources far and wide. No mountain sect could take out so many resources to use. They could only use them to nurture promising disciples. As for savage beasts, their bloodline would determine their future achievements. XO new fastest asterisk, N up 1 asterisk dollars. Some savage beasts had insufficient bloodline. No matter how hard they cultivated, they would never be able to reach the demonic illusory realm or demonic emperor realm. Rumor had it that some savage beasts with extremely high bloodline were destined to become demonic emperors the moment they were born. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, white jade mystic bird, hell rat, scarlet flame demonic mink, and other savage beasts had ordinary bloodlines and lived in the outer regions of the barbaric demon forest. They worked hard to cultivate, wanting to become experts. However, they knew that they wouldn't be able to achieve much even if they spent their entire lives. But now it was different. They had each obtained an inheritance from the mysterious space. Only they knew how powerful the inheritance they had obtained was. Everything in the future would become possible. He sent the golden python, hell rat, and white jade mystic bird out to check if the 9 lives demonic cat and the group of savage beasts were still nearby. Yes, Lord. The white jade mystic bird and the others replied and left the cave. Although the waterfall was turbulent, it couldn't stop them. Half a day later, the white jade mystic bird and the others returned and informed Sui that there weren't many savage beasts around, nor were there any demonic Emperor realm experts. Let's leave this place. Sui was relieved. He rode on the white jade mystic bird and rushed out of the waterfall. Profound origin realm. In the mountain range, Sui landed on the ground. His aura surged as his fist landed on a towering tree that looked like a horned dragon. Bang! The towering tree cracked and shattered. Leaves flew everywhere. The ground shook and cracks spread. Lord is so strong. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger exclaimed in shock. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger was known for its brute strength, but at this moment, it could clearly feel that when it was at the first level of the demon profound realm, it wasn't as strong as Sui. Let's test my strength. Sui's eyes lit up when he saw a huge boulder not far away. He wanted to know the difference between the Yuan profound realm and the Yuan spirit realm. Yuan Qi surged within his meridians, emitting the sound of wind and thunder as it exploded outwards. Bang! The rock exploded. The golden python, fiery scarlet marten, and the others were dumbstruck. Given how powerful he was, savage beasts of the same cultivation realm would definitely not be a match for him. Tell me, do you think my lord is strong enough to compete with those demon cubs of the same level with powerful bloodlines? Before the demon and were born, my lord, you will surpass those young ones. One day, we will become true members of the Yao race and become emperors. Not far away, Sui stopped inspecting himself. Taking a deep breath, Sui smiled. The difference between the profound origin realm and the soul essence realm was too big. Not enough. This is just the beginning. Sui was not overjoyed. He had only reached the profound origin realm. Ji Chao from the Sacred Mountain was not much older than him, but he had already reached the profound origin realm a long time ago. Sui estimated that Ji Chao had already reached the profound origin realm with the help of the Sacred Mountain's resources. It was said that Lu Ruashi had already reached the profound origin realm a long time ago, far ahead of him. There were also disciples from the other major sections. There must be many talented disciples. Behind them, they had powerful teachers to guide them, powerful cultivation techniques, and powerful cultivation resources to support them. If he wanted to surpass them, he would have to train harder. Under the waterfall, Sui tidied himself up and tidied his clothes. He had been in the barbaric demon forest for quite some time. Sui had grown a little taller. Although his face still looked a little immature, he was sharper and more steady than his peers. Continue to train, Sui said to the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger. It had been many days since the commotion caused by the blood jasper spiritual ginseng. The barbaric demon Grand Canyon had returned to its original tranquility. Even so, Sui did not dare to wander around. He did not dare to be too far away from the golden python. Although the golden python was only in the demonic spirit realm, it was still much stronger than Sui. During the day, Sui would train himself. At night, he would enter the mysterious space to train. In the mysterious space, the blood jasper spiritual ginseng had already drilled into the ground. Its spiritual roots were rooted in the ground. Its entire body was covered in a green-red radiance. The leaves at the top were also slowly recovering their verdant luster. After a few days, Sui had completely stabilized his cultivation at the first level of the Yuan profound realm. Lord, there's a commotion up ahead. There are quite a few barbaric demon beasts chasing after a human girl. Another day had passed. When Su-yi walked out of the mysterious space in the morning, the silver spirit butterfly that was guarding outside excitedly reported to Su-yi, "Chasing after a human girl? How strong are they?" Su-yi stretched his waist and casually asked. He could feel that he was making progress every day. This feeling was very comfortable. The combination of the mysterious space and the Origin Supreme technique was like adding wings to a tiger. That human girl isn't old. She's about the same age as Lord. She's quite pretty. Her cultivation shouldn't have reached the Yuan spirit realm. Among the barbaric demon beasts chasing after her, there are two demonic spirit realm frost barbaric wolves. "I'm afraid the human girl is dead for sure," the fiery-eyed barbaric bird said. "Is that so?" Su-yi raised his brows. He didn't have much of a reaction. Who knows how many people died in the barbaric demon forest every day? "She's about the same age as me. She's quite pretty. Could it be?" Suddenly, Su-yi's expression changed. He couldn't help but think of a person. It couldn't be that woman, right? "Quick, where did she escape to? Bring me to her, quick." Instantly, Su-yi's expression became anxious. Whether it was that woman or not, he had to confirm it. Aolo! The howls of the wolves echoed through the forest. There were no less than 20 frost barbaric wolves that were emitting a chilling aura. They roared and bared their fangs as they surrounded a young girl. The young girl's face was as pale as ash. Her hair was disheveled, and she was in a sorry state. Looking at the 20 frost barbaric wolves in front of her, the young girl's expression was extremely solemn. She didn't expect that she would attract a pack of frost barbaric wolves. If she knew earlier, she wouldn't have gone there alone. She would have made ample preparations. Iolo. Chapter 161. Asterisk Rumble. Asterisk A pack of barbaric frost wolves pounced out with their mouths wide open. The smell of blood assailed their nostrils. They were incomparably ferocious and carried a berserk, icy aura as they pounced towards the girl. The aura of this pack of barbaric frost wolves was surging, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. It was as if the surrounding area had fallen into an ice cave. Asterisk whoosh. Asterisk A blood-red whip appeared in the girl's hand. It whistled as it lashed towards the first few barbaric frost wolves. Asterisk whoosh. Asterisk The blood-red whip emitted a radiance as it emitted a baleful aura. The girl seemed to be using all her strength as she instantly sent 2 barbaric frost wolves flying. Asterisk Awo. Asterisk, however, the barbaric frost wolf behind was even more powerful. Its sharp claws pressed down on the blood-red whip. The girl's expression changed as her profound energy surged. Her aura fluctuated like a bloody mist. The might of the blood-red whip increased as a blood-red radiance spread along the whip, sending the barbaric frost wolf flying. Asterisk Awo. Asterisk The wolf howled as an even more powerful icy aura swept out. A barbaric frost wolf at the demon spirit realm leaped out. Its sharp claws were like hooks as it tore towards the girl. A solemn look flashed in the young girl's eyes. In her panic, the blood-red whip spun around and instantly coiled around the barbarian frost wolf's sharp claws. She pulled forcefully and abruptly jerked, wanting to send the barbarian frost wolf flying. Asterisk Awo. Asterisk, however, the barbaric frost wolf was much stronger than the girl had imagined. Its body was in the air as it landed. A terrifying power exploded as the icy aura spread along the blood-red whip, causing the girl to stumble forward. Asterisk whoosh. Asterisk The barbaric frost wolf was vicious. It opened its bloody mouth and was about to devour the girl. The icy aura and the smell of blood assailed her nostrils. It was nauseating and was enough to make her go limp. The girl's expression changed as she quickly leaped up. Profound energy surged from the soles of her feet as she leaped into the air. Her hair fluttered behind her as she stepped on the head of the barbaric frost wolf. The girl's figure was agile as she dodged the wolf's bloody mouth and leaped forward, wanting to take the opportunity to escape. Asterisk Awo. Asterisk, but at the same time, the second demonic spirit realm, frost barbaric wolf, pounced over. Its sharp claws were covered in frost, capable of freezing everything. The young woman already had no way to retreat. She bit her tender lips tightly as she condensed seals with her hands, and the profound energy on her body surged to the limit before transforming into a fist that directly smashed towards the center of the primeval direwolf's sharp claws. Bang! With a muffled explosion, the girl's beautiful figure was sent flying and heavily smashed into the ground. A cold light flashed past. The first barbarian frost wolf took the opportunity to swipe its claws across the girl's shoulder, causing blood to spurt out. The clothes on the young girl's back were torn apart. On her snow-white skin, several deep wounds were exposed. Her flesh was mangled, and it was a horrible sight to behold. Pooh! The young woman spat out a mouthful of blood, and then her figure fell heavily to the ground. With her cultivation and strength, she was truly unable to face a pack of barbaric glacial wolves like this. Awoo! The frost barbaric wolf's eyes were filled with bloodthirst. A demon spirit realm frost barbaric wolf opened its mouth, wanting to swallow the girl. The girl's expression was grave to the extreme. At this moment, she no longer had any strength to resist. She was afraid that she would lose her life here. Screech! At this critical moment, a screech resounded through the air. A huge ferocious bird spread its wings and swooped down. Its aura was blazing hot, and it burned the air. With lightning speed, it stretched out its claws and grabbed the shoulder of the demon spirit realm frost barbaric wolf. Awoo! The demon spirit realm frost barbaric wolf sensed that something was wrong. It roared and tried to dodge, but it was already too late. Several cracks appeared on its shoulder, as if it had been burned by flames. There was a trace of burnt flesh on its shoulder, and it roared in pain. Awoo! The remaining frost barbaric wolves were enraged. Their bodies glowed, and frost aura whistled. Light intertwined, and their auras were ferocious. When they raised their heads, several ferocious birds appeared in the sky. Awoo! At the same time, the forest ahead trembled. The roars of beasts were like thunder, and their auras were shocking. Several huge barbaric beasts charged out. The sudden change also caused the young woman to be flabbergasted. The young woman's pale face immediately changed, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. She saw a young man sitting on the back of a white jade mystic bird. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his robe fluttered in the wind. It's him. How could the young woman forget about this young man? She didn't expect him to still be alive, and he even appeared at this moment. It seems like this large group of powerful barbaric beasts was brought here by him. Go away. On the white jade mystic bird, Su-Yi looked at the dozens of frost barbaric wolves on the ground. His voice was sharp and decisive. Human, who are you? Do you want to die? The dozens of barbarian frost wolves were shocked. The two demon spirit realm barbarian frost wolves didn't seem to have any intention of retreating, especially the one that was scratched by the fiery barbaric bird. It raised its head and roared, looking furious. Evil creatures, kill. Su-Yi's expression sank, and a cold light flashed through his eyes. Awoo! Screech! The tiger roared in the forest, and the ferocious bird screeched. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, fiery bird, silver spirit butterfly, and the other demon spirit beasts swooped down and swept towards the pack of frost barbaric wolves. $, Su-Yi also jumped down from the back of the white jade mystic bird. Profound chi surged under his feet, and a surge of aura was released. Awoo! A third stage, demon realm, frost barbaric wolf roared ferociously. Frost aura surged from its body as it pounced towards Su-Yi. Su-Yi's brows twitched. He stretched out his hand and executed the Fuyao's 100 transformation steps. Instead of retreating, he advanced and grabbed the front claw of the barbaric frost wolf. The frost barbaric wolf's expression changed. It was shocked and wanted to break free. However, the frost barbaric wolf realized that it couldn't break free no matter what it did. Its resistance was useless. Its front claw was grabbed by the human, and it was in extreme pain. It felt like its bones were about to break. Die! Su-Yi roared. He grabbed the frost barbaric wolf's front claw and swung it up like a rock, and threw it towards a huge rock not far away. simple and domineering. Bang! The sound of flesh being torn apart rang out, and the huge rock cracked. The frost barbaric wolf let out a blood-curdling scream. Its body was badly mutilated, and it looked like it had turned into a puddle of blood. It was stuck on the huge rock and couldn't be more dead. Oh! Muffled sounds were like thunder, and the roars of beasts were unceasingly heard. The pack of frost barbaric wolves were all screaming in pain. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, snow-jade barbaric ape, fiery bird, fiery flame marten, and golden python were all demon spirit realm barbaric beasts. Recently, they had all made astonishing progress, and their cultivation had skyrocketed. These frost barbaric wolves weren't a match for them at all. In an instant, most of them were taken care of by the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the rest. Chapter 162. Su-yi walked straight to the girl who was still unable to get up. He looked at the girl who was lying on the ground. She looked to be about 14 or 15 years old. Her skin was as smooth as cream, and there was a hint of pink in her fair skin. Her face was now as pale as ash. However, her slender waist and slender limbs made her figure even more alluring as she laid on the ground. Who else could it be other than the young girl who had robbed Su-yi? The young woman in red looked at Su-yi, and a smile appeared on her pale face. Her aura was weak. "You're not dead. That's great. I knew you'd be fine. What goes around comes around." Su-yi's face was not pale, but his features were sharp. Beneath his sword-like eyebrows, his eyes shone brightly, and his mouth curved into a smile. When a young woman saw that smile, she couldn't help but feel her hair stand on end. "What do you want to do?" The smile on her face vanished. She stared at Su-yi, her eyes filled with warning. "If you dare to touch a single hair on my head, I won't let you off the hook." When those eyes looked at Su-yi, Su-yi's heart skipped a beat. It was as if he had been covered in frost, and his blood and chi began to fluctuate. Su-yi's eyes flickered. This young woman's face changed faster than flipping the pages of a book. But no matter what, he had to get his revenge. "You little bitch, you still dare to threaten me? I've said it before. You better not fall into my hands. I'll first F*CKU, then F*CKU, then F*CKU again." Su-yi's face darkened. Back then, this young woman had caused him so much trouble. He had been robbed clean. He had to get his revenge. "You dare, PFFF." The young woman stared coldly at Su, but her injuries were too severe. She coughed up a mouthful of blood, her eyes went black, and she fainted. "Hey, don't play dead. You think you'll be fine if you play dead." Su-yi was very depressed. After examining her, he confirmed that she had indeed fainted. Her injuries were too severe. 2 hours later, in the natural cave, Su-yi was holding a young girl in his arms. The young girl was still unconscious. Su-yi gently placed her on a flat rock. Her shoulder was badly mutilated, and the wound was so deep that the bone could be seen. Blood dyed her entire back red. "I can't let you die so easily. Otherwise, it would be too easy for you," Su-yi muttered. During those 3 years in the barbaric demon forest, Su-yi's body frequently suffered such injuries, so he was quite familiar with it. Not to mention that he was no longer the same as before. At the very least, he didn't lack medicinal ingredients. Su-yi examined the girl's injuries. Fresh blood had dyed her entire back red, and her clothes had been torn apart. Her flesh was badly mangled, and the wounds were so deep that the bones could be seen. He sighed inwardly. The girl was already lucky that she hadn't been torn into two by the frost barbaric wolf. He took out some herbs from the mysterious space and ground them into powder. "I'm not trying to save you. I just don't want you to die so early," Su-yi softly muttered. He tore off a clean piece of clothing and gently wiped the area around the wound on the girl's back, revealing her fair and smooth skin. However, Su-yi wasn't in the mood to admire her jade-like skin. He sprinkled the powder on the girl's back, then gently turned her over and stuffed a healing pill into her mouth. The girl had fainted. Her face was pale, and her hair was stained with blood. However, her tender lips had a natural vermilion color, and her body emitted a special fragrance. Although her eyes were closed, she still had a special kind of beauty. He quietly looked at her. He couldn't help but take a few more glances. He sighed inwardly. This girl was so young, but she already had such a femme fatale appearance. In a few more years, she would probably become even more terrifying. A woman's heart is the most poisonous. Suyi's heart was filled with hatred. He had been tricked by this girl. He had almost died in her hands. The more he thought about it, the angrier Suyi became. He immediately searched the girl's clothes and took out a lot of space bags. He checked them one by one. There were no restrictions placed on them. They were the space bags that Suyi had robbed. Inside the space bag, there were a lot of intact primordial stones. There was also the black card of the spirit treasure. However, there was also a space bag with restrictions placed on it. Suyi guessed that it should be the girl's space bag. He didn't hesitate to put it away. After doing all this, Suyi looked at the girl again. There were fluctuations of aura on her body. The healing pill and medicinal powder should have worked. Her life shouldn't be in danger. She could be considered to have escaped death. However, in Suyi's heart, he felt that he had let this girl off too easily. This girl had robbed him of everything and almost killed him. On the other hand, he had saved her. This was repaying evil with good. Forget it. Who asked me to be magnanimous? Whether she lives or dies, it's up to the heavens. Suyi planned to leave. He had already been very kind. However, when he reached the entrance of the cave, Suyi stopped. Suyi turned around and looked at the girl who hadn't woken up yet. This was the great barbaric demon canyon. The cave wasn't safe. Barbaric demon beasts could come at any time. In this girl's current state, any barbaric demon beast that came in would be able to eat her as a snack. She's a girl after all, and a beautiful one at that. After a short moment, Suyi returned to the cave. He planned to wait for the girl to wake up before leaving. He had the golden python, netherworld rat, and the others move about freely outside the cave. They split up to temper themselves and guard her. Suyi sat cross-legged in the cave and summoned the mysterious space again. He easily opened the girl's interspatial bag. Primeval stones, elixirs, spiritual herbs. The interspatial bag was very big. There were many primeval stones and even high-grade elixirs. There were also many medicinal herbs and spiritual herbs. Adding them all together was quite a lot. Suyi was satisfied. However, there were no martial skills or cultivation techniques in the interspatial bag. However, to Suyi, the cultivation techniques weren't important. Suyi only needed to cultivate the Origin Supreme technique and the art of controlling the heavens. As for martial skills, Suyi didn't lack any for the time being. The martial skills he had were all of the king grade. There were still royal grade martial skills that he couldn't cultivate. There were also many women's clothes and accessories in the interspatial bag. Suyi curiously flipped through them. They all had a faint fragrance. This is a bit perverted. Suyi cursed himself. After sorting everything out, he walked out of the mysterious space. Looking at the girl beside him, Suyi estimated that she wouldn't wake up for a while. He began to cultivate his soul using the art of controlling the heavens. The next day, Suyi changed the girl's dressing again and stuffed another healing elixir into her mouth. "I've done a good deed," Suyi muttered to himself. He originally wanted to settle the score with this girl, who knew that he would have to take care of her. For the next 3 days, Suyi changed the girl's dressing every day. The wound on the young girl's back that was so deep that her bones could be seen had miraculously healed and was gradually closing up. The girl's breathing had also stabilized. Her face returned to normal, as if she was sleeping. Chapter 163. Suyi mumbled to himself as he turned around, intending to continue practicing the art of driving the heavens. Suyi did not know when the girl would wake up, so he decided to be a good person for once. Suyi raised his eyebrows slightly, as if he had discovered something. A light flashed across his eyes. Asterisk slash. Asterisk suddenly at this moment, the girl lying down suddenly opened her eyes. Her speed was as fast as lightning as her hand reached for Suyi's throat. At that moment, the unconscious girl released a strong aura. Her hair fluttered in the wind, and her tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. There was a blood-red glow in her eyes. She's awake. At the same time, Su Yi's feet surged with Xian Qi, and he quickly retreated. */ Su Yi felt a sharp sensation on his neck, causing his skin to hurt. However, he managed to dodge the attack. The girl screamed in pain. The wound on her back was torn open, and she could not help but scream in pain. Her face changed color, and she almost cried. The girl sat down weakly, and her aura was weak. *Roar. Sir. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger, snow jade savage ape, and golden python who were guarding the entrance felt the aura in the cave and immediately rushed in. However, their 3 huge bodies blocked the entrance of the cave, and they could not enter. I'm fine. Su Yi retreated to the entrance of the cave and stood in front of the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other 2 beasts. Su Yi stared at the girl cautiously. He knew that she was very strong. Although she was heavily injured, who knew if she was faking it? It was better to stay away from her. *Roar. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger, golden python, and snow jade savage ape felt the atmosphere in the cave, and they knew that the girl had attacked their sir. Instantly, 3 pairs of bell-like eyes stared at the girl, and the smell of blood filled the air. As long as Su Yi gave the order, the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the others would be able to destroy this cave and tear that girl apart. The girl's back was torn apart, and blood seeped out again. She also looked at Su Yi. Seeing Su Yi standing in front of the 3 barbaric beasts, and the 3 barbaric beasts looking at him with reverence, the young girl's expression changed. Her eyes widened in shock. Good intentions are not rewarded. Su Yi was frustrated. Good intentions were not rewarded. If he had known, he would have left this girl to fend for herself. He helped her heal her out of kindness, and she repaid his kindness with enmity. Luckily, Su Yi noticed it quickly, or he would have fallen into this vicious girl's hands again. Are you a disciple of demon subduing sect? Looking at the 3 barbaric beasts behind Su Yi, the young lady remembered that when this young man first appeared, he had many other barbaric beasts with him. She guessed that this young man might be a disciple of one of the top 10 powers, the demon subduing sect. Rumors had it that the people of demon subduing sect could control some demonic beasts and were extremely strong. Su Yi did not bother with the girl and planned to leave. Since this girl was awake, it was better to stay away from her, lest he got himself into trouble. Once this girl recovered, Su Yi knew that he would not be a match for her. Hey, hold on. Seeing that Su Yi was about to leave, the girl called out to Su Yi. What's the matter? Su Yi turned around and raised his brows, looking at the girl indifferently. I was impulsive. Thank you for saving my life. Last time, I let you down, and this time, I have to thank you for saving me. I'll repay you in the future. The young girl spoke with sincerity, her large eyes sparkling with gratitude. You don't have to repay me. Just don't see me again. How could Su Yi believe this girl's words? It's not like he had never seen this girl change her face faster than flipping a book. Last time, this woman was as serious as a bodhisattva, but she almost got him killed. Su Yi was not going to fall for it again. With that, Su Yi left again. Hey, hold on. My injuries are so serious. This should still be the barbaric demon Grand Canyon. If you leave me here, I'll be in danger if I meet a barbaric demon beast. The girl said loudly to Su Yi, looking very wronged. That beautiful face, that otherworldly temperament. Any man who saw it would feel pity for her. What does it have to do with me? Compared to when you left me here, you're much better now. If there's no barbaric demon beast, you can leave when your injuries are better. If you meet one, then even if the heavens want to destroy you, I can't save you. Whether you live or die depends on whether you're a good person or a bad person. Su Yi said indifferently, returning the girl's words. Compared to this girl's viciousness, Su Yi felt that he was already a good person. I know it was my fault. Thank you for saving me this time. The girl looked at Su Yi, her face full of sincerity. Perhaps there was at least some truth in that sincerity. The girl had already checked herself. She knew that Su Yi had applied medicine for her, but her body was still intact. There was also the energy of the healing pill in her body. Otherwise, with such a serious injury, she was afraid that she would not have survived. No need to thank me. I only saved you because I wanted to take back something that was mine. Sue, he said bluntly. This girl really knew how to act. With such a pitiful appearance, there weren't many men in this world who wouldn't be soft-hearted. But if he really did soft-hearted toward her, then he would have fallen for her trick. It's fine. It was originally yours. I was thinking of returning it to you in the future, said the girl seriously. No need. I've already taken it. Sue, he didn't want to say anything more. This girl changed her face too quickly. It was better to stay away from her. With that, Sue, he turned and left. He didn't want to have anything to do with this girl. He brought the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the other two barbaric beasts out of the cave. Seeing that Sue Asian was leaving, the girl's eyes flickered and her expression changed. She clenched her teeth and shouted, Hey, don't go. You saved me, so I'll give you a big gift. I know a place with treasures beyond your imagination. Do you think I'll believe you? Suyi's voice came from outside the cave. It seemed he didn't believe her at all. I'm not lying to you. I entered the barbaric demon Grand Canyon alone to find that treasure land. The reason I was chased by a pack of frost barbaric wolves was because I found the general location of that treasure land. That is definitely a treasure land. There will definitely be treasures beyond your imagination, said the girl. She seemed to be really anxious. She hoped Sue would believe her. But by the time her voice had echoed out, Sue had already disappeared from the cave. There was no response. The girl's expression darkened. What treasure? Just as the girl was feeling a little dejected, Sue, who had just left, suddenly popped his head back. Chapter 164. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other two barbaric beasts followed closely behind Sue. They stared at the young girl with a warning look in their eyes. Seeing Sue return, a light flashed across the girl's eyes. A smile appeared on her still pale face. How about we make a deal? She asked. Sue, rubbed his chin with his index finger and pondered. What deal? He asked the girl. I need to recuperate for a few days. You help protect me. When the time comes, we'll go to the treasure land and split the treasures 50-50. How about it? The girl looked at Sue. Her big eyes, beautiful eyes, and temperament were extremely provocative. When you recover, you can take the opportunity to deal with me. Or you can just leave and go find the treasure yourself. What can I do to you? Sue faintly smiled. Facing this girl, he had to be on guard. There was nothing this girl couldn't do. You have so many demon spirit realm barbaric beasts behind you. I can't deal with them either. Why are you afraid that I'll deal with you? It should be me who's afraid that you'll deal with me. I'm afraid that you'll want to take all the treasures for yourself. Furthermore, you have so many barbaric beasts. Even if I wanted to run, I wouldn't be able to. I can't give you the guarantee you need, but I swear that I'll definitely bring you there. If you believe me, then let me recover for a few days and we'll go find the treasure together. If you don't believe me, then we'll part ways here. The girl spoke with a firm expression. Sue pondered as he looked at the girl. He wasn't sure if what she said was true or false. But for a girl like her to appear in the great barbaric demon valley alone for so long, it was indeed abnormal. She must have a purpose for coming here. And it was impossible for Sue not to be interested in the treasure that was beyond his imagination. Deal. But if you dare to lie to me, I guarantee that you'll regret it. Sue pondered for a moment, then nodded his head at the girl. Although this girl was very strong, Sue thought that with the golden python by his side, he should be able to deal with her. Don't worry, I definitely won't lie to you. After all, you are my savior. Seeing Sue nod his head, the young girl's eyes revealed a smile. Her red lips pouted in an alluring manner. I still don't know your name. Sue, said Sue. My name is Mou. Don't worry about the road ahead without a bosom friend. You from spring flowers and autumn moon. Mou pursed her lips into a smile. It was very moving. Heal your wounds first. Sue nodded. He glanced at Mou a few more times. Oh, my space teleportation bag is with you, right? Everything in it belongs to you. But can you return some of my women's clothes to me? If you want to keep them as a souvenir, I can gift you some other day. If you want my personal belongings, it doesn't matter. Mou looked at Su-yi with a smile in her eyes. Her red lips seemed to be smiling sweetly, as if she was deliberately teasing him. It was incomparably alluring. Where did this demoness come from? Su-yi inwardly frowned, but his expression didn't change. I'll give them back to you. As for the personal belongings, forget about them. I'm not interested. Su-yi indifferently tossed Mou's space teleportation bag over. Thank you. Mou smiled, then winked at Su-yi. Her long eyelashes curled up, and her eyes sparkled. Do you still have the medicine you applied on me? I think it's quite effective. I still have some. Su-yi nodded. Then I'll have to trouble you to apply it on me again. When you help someone, help them to the end. Mou smiled faintly. Her black eyebrows curved up, her eyelashes curled up, and her eyes sparkled. She had a kind of otherworldly beauty. Su-yi couldn't help but fall into a momentary daze as he stared at her beauty. A woman like this at such a young age was enough to make other beauties pale in comparison. She was like a demoness, but also like an elf. As soon as she finished speaking, Mou turned around and gently leaned against a rock. Her legs were long and straight, and one of them was bent, outlining an incomparably moving arc. Her lazy appearance clearly revealed a kind of inexperience, but it was already naturally alluring. Gulp? For some reason, Su-yi's throat felt hot, and he secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. When this woman turned hostile, she was like a demoness, merciless, and incomparably vicious. But at this moment, she was naturally alluring, as if she didn't eat the food of mortals. Two kinds of temperaments gathered in one body. What? Are you afraid that I'll attack you? I can't beat those barbaric beasts of yours. Mou gently lay down, and her slender, jade-like hands lifted the tattered clothes on her back a little, revealing the torn wound. Her brows furrowed slightly, and she didn't turn around as she spoke softly to Su-yi. Percent latest chapter equals section F above. Su-yi was taken aback. He looked at Mou and hesitated for a moment. He clearly didn't want to go, but his feet didn't seem to listen to him as he walked forward. When he reached Mou's side, Su-yi was secretly vigilant. He wiped off the powder that was originally applied on her back. Mou was lying on the ground. Although Su-yi had been very gentle, her back was still in extreme pain. She frowned and groaned softly. When Su-yi heard this, he immediately frowned. This voice made Su-yi's tongue and mouth dry for no reason, as if there was a fire burning in his body. Mou didn't notice Su-yi's strange behavior and hummed in a low voice. Not only that, but her alluring figure also slightly twisted, and her waist moved slightly, making her figure even more alluring. Su-yi was very close to her. He was at the age where he was full of vigor. Moreover, she was such a demoness, so he immediately suffered. Can you stop moaning? Su-yi finally couldn't bear it anymore and said to Mou, Then be gentle. It hurts a bit. Mou said softly, her tone also lazy. I'm already being very gentle. Su-yi rolled his eyes and went even gentler. After wiping off the remaining powder, Su-yi found that Mou's back was more or less healed. It was just that the sudden attack just now had torn open some cracks and blood seeped out. Taking out the medicinal ingredients, Su-yi easily crushed them into powder and applied it to Mou's back again. This powder was a bit irritating. When it was applied to the wound, Mou frowned again. She bit her red lips, and a soft groan came from her throat. Most importantly, this demoness' legs were tightly clamped together, and her waist was slightly twisted. A faint fragrance wafted out from her body and directly into Su-yi's nose. Endure it. Su-yi couldn't hold it in any longer. His face was flushed red, and his lower abdomen was burning with heat. He was trying his best to hold it in. Done. After applying the powder, Su-yi immediately stood up and left. If he stayed any longer, he really wouldn't be able to endure it. Chapter 165. Su-yi gaped. This woman really was. I wasn't in the mood to touch you. I was just applying medicine. Su-yi was depressed, but for some reason, his ears turned red. Looking at Su-yi's appearance, Imo couldn't help but giggle. Even though you were applying medicine, you really did touch me. I'm a virgin, pure as ice and clean as jade. If you touch me, shouldn't you take responsibility? He felt helpless. This woman was like a witch. Which part of her was pure as ice and clean as jade? Most importantly, He realized that he was the one being teased. For better or for worse, he was a human being. To be teased by a little girl, He felt a bit sullen. Pursing his lips, he said, "If you really want me to take responsibility, then I can't do anything about it. But I already have a fiancé, so I'm afraid you can only be my second wife. Also, your skin isn't bad. Why don't I touch it again?" Seeing he suddenly changed the subject and teased her. Mo's eyes flickered. But her expression didn't change. She smiled and sat up a bit straighter. Although she was sitting up straight, the witch's figure was still curvaceous. When she smiled, she looked like a celestial being who didn't eat the food of mortals. She said to "Next time you apply medicine, you can touch me again. But do you really have a fiancé? I don't think that's any of your business." He couldn't help but think back to that figure from years ago. He hadn't seen her for many years, and he wondered what she had become. "I was just asking. If you don't want to say, that's fine. But I don't want to know if your fiancé is prettier or if I'm prettier." Mou winked and smiled. "She's prettier than you," said Sui coolly, his eyebrows arched. "All right, I want to change my clothes. Then I need to treat my injuries. You can leave first. If you dare peek at me changing my clothes, you're dead." For some reason, Mou's expression suddenly turned cold. He raised his eyebrows slightly. This woman changed her face faster than flipping a book. "I won't disturb you for the next few days. If you need anything, just call me." With that, he left the cave. "If I have the chance, I want to see just how beautiful that fiancé of yours is." Watching Su Yi's back, Mou's lips curled into a cute smile. Outside the cave, there was a mountain range. From the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, golden python, and snow jade barbaric ape's beast language, He learned that the fiery scarlet demon mink and the others had been tempering themselves. Even Debeo and Little Ling had secretly followed them. He didn't know how much of what Mou said was true, but since he had already chosen to believe her, he could only wait for a few more days. Continue training. Muttering in his heart, He put down the 1,000-gene broken sword on his back. Huff huff. Holding the sword in his right hand, he didn't use his Yuan Qi. Instead, he used his physical strength to wield the 1,000-gene broken sword. Now that he had broken through to the profound origin realm, he didn't find it strenuous to wield the 1,000-gene broken sword with pure physical strength. The 13 Gale swords required an Origin Emperor Realm expert to practice. Before practicing, one had to use a 10,000-gene heavy sword to temper the body. He didn't give up and kept practicing according to the 13 Gale swords. With pure physical strength, he couldn't wield a 10,000-gene heavy sword. This 1,000-gene broken sword was perfect for tempering the strength of his arms and wrists. Alternately wielding the heavy sword with both hands, he didn't stop until his body was completely exhausted. The 1,000-gene heavy sword was stabbed into the rocky ground. He was sweating profusely. Large droplets of sweat overflowed from his forehead as he gasped for breath. Looking at the 1,000-gene broken sword in front of him, he felt it was strange. He didn't know what material this unremarkable broken sword was made of to be so heavy. Furthermore, it was taken from a mysterious woman's space bag. That woman wouldn't be interested in an ordinary item. Unable to find an answer, he didn't dwell on it. He sat down cross-legged and began to regulate his breathing to recover his physical strength. As for the art of driving the heavens, he didn't plan to reveal his identity as a soul controller since Mou had already awakened. For the next few days, he practiced the Mad Dragon's 3 blades and other martial techniques, using the 1,000-gene broken sword to temper the strength of his arms. On the evening of the 3rd day, the Scarlet-Fired Demon Marten, Hell Rat, and White Jade Mystic Bird all returned with injuries on their bodies. We encountered some opponents. They weren't weak. Fortunately, we escaped quickly. The Hell Rat said embarrassedly. "Wah, not weak? If it weren't for me, you would have been tortured to death. The silver spirit butterfly's wings were also stained with blood. It had just experienced a fierce battle. That scared me to death. That flood dragon was too strong. Wait until I'm strong enough to deal with it. DeBeo and Little Ling poked their heads out of the fiery barbaric bird's wings. They had been hiding inside the fiery barbaric bird's wings this entire time. All right, as long as you're fine, it's fine. Heal up, Sui said. He took out some healing pills and gave them to the silver spirit butterfly and the others. The hell rat and the others had gone out to temper themselves, so it was normal for them to be injured. Only then could they grow faster. On the fourth day, Sui continued to cultivate martial techniques and temper his arm strength. During these days, Sui would occasionally look into the cave. He didn't know when Mo would come out. During these days, Sui was also wondering why Mo didn't call him to change his bandages. He couldn't help but feel a bit of anticipation. Unfortunately, Mo hadn't spoken during these days. Only from the fluctuations of her aura, Sui knew that Mo had been recuperating inside the cave. Therefore, he didn't disturb her. On the morning of the fifth day, Sui, who had just risen and was sitting cross-legged, stopped his breathing. He breathed out a mouthful of turbid chi and stretched his waist. He felt refreshed. I didn't expect you to break through to the profound origin realm so quickly. The last time I saw you, you were still very weak. Mo's voice sounded out. A graceful figure walked out of the cave. After several days of recuperation, Mo's complexion had already recovered its rosy color. She had also changed into a light cyan dress. A yellow belt wrapped around her waist, making her waist look even more slender. Her long hair hung down to her slender waist, emitting a special fragrance. Her eyes were lively, revealing a hint of craftiness. She was like a fairy in this ancient mountain range. Sui raised his head and looked at Mo. He could feel her aura and complexion. In just a few days, she was able to recover to the point where she looked completely fine. This woman wasn't simple. What's wrong? Do you suddenly feel that I'm more beautiful than your fiancé? Mo looked at Sui with a smile on her face. Her red lips seemed to be smiling sweetly. Chapter 166. Where's that place? Sui asked, but he was secretly vigilant. This woman wasn't simple, but she didn't succeed last time, which proved that that place was definitely very dangerous. Could it be that you're afraid? Mo looked at Sui and smiled. Although she was still young, her exquisite figure slightly trembled, and her snow-white skin was suffused with an alluring luster. Being enveloped by the morning sun, it was hard to tell if this was a holy fairy or a seductive witch. It's better to be careful. Tell me, what's in that place? What's there? Sui asked. Let's talk as we walk, Mo said, and her expression revealed some seriousness. I received news that there's a peak 9th level demon void stage blazing sky dragon's lair not far ahead. If we're able to kill that blazing sky dragon and obtain its demon core, that's a precious treasure. On the way, Sui finally knew what Mo wanted to do from Mo. Goodbye. Sui glanced at Mo when he heard this, then instantly turned around and left without hesitation. Wanting to kill a peak 9th level demon void stage blazing sky dragon and obtain its demon core, Sui knew that with his and Mo's strength, it was purely suicide. A demon core was an inner core that would only form within a barbaric demon beast body when it reached the demon void stage. A peak 9th level demon void stage blazing sky dragon's demon core, and it was in existence with an extremely high bloodline amongst barbaric demon beasts. Its value was immeasurable. The demon core of a peak 9th level demon void stage blazing sky dragon was absolutely a precious treasure. Sui wanted a treasure, that's right. But when faced with this situation, Sui didn't want to commit suicide. The treasure was tempting, but his own life was more important. Don't walk so fast. I received reliable news that the blazing sky dragon suffered a heavy injury and is already at death's door. It's absolutely impossible for it to recover. Perhaps it's already dead, Mo said. Are you sure? Su-Yi instantly turned around and looked at Mou as he asked. I'm sure. Mou was very sure that her news wasn't wrong. And if it's like this, why don't you go yourself? Su-Yi couldn't help but wonder why Mou didn't go herself if the blazing sky flood dragon was already at death's door or even dead. Of course I want to go by myself. Last time I went by myself. That's why I was chased by that pack of barbaric frostwolves. If you hadn't saved me, I might have died by now. Mou looked at Su-Yi and smiled sweetly. I found the lair of the blazing sky flood dragon. However, for some reason, the blazing sky flood dragon took in a whole pack of barbarian frostwolves. I can't deal with that many barbarian frostwolves by myself. Haven't most of those barbaric frostwolves been killed? Su-Yi maintained a skeptical attitude. In any case, he absolutely couldn't believe everything this woman said. That's only a portion of them. A nest of barbarian frostwolves has at least 100, and at most 1,000. The barbarian frostwolf that chased after me last time was only a very small portion of that nest. I estimate that the strongest barbarian frostwolf king is about to reach the demon true realm, said Mou. Demon true realm. You can deal with that, Wolf King? The corner of Su-Yi's mouth twitched. A demon true realm barbarian frostwolf was equivalent to an expert of the Yuan true realm. He was only at the first stage of the Yuan true realm. There was no way he could deal with it. I can't do anything about that, Wolf King. Mou smiled embarrassedly. She looked at the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the rest of the savage beasts behind Su-Yi. She blinked and said, But you have so many savage beasts. That Wolf King might not have reached the demon true realm yet. If we attack together, our chances are very high. Besides, you seem to have a way to deal with savage beasts. Su-Yi's eyes immediately widened. He stared at Mou and said, You want to gain something without risking anything. You want me and my savage beasts to deal with that nest of barbarian frostwolves while you hide behind us. Su-Yi rolled his eyes. This woman's calculations were too good. Su-Yi didn't want to do something so risky. He wasn't stupid. Of course not. We're just working together. You should know that savage beasts like the blazing sky flood dragon love to collect all kinds of rare treasures. His nest is a treasure trove. As long as we deal with that nest of barbarian frostwolves, we'll be able to get the blazing sky flood dragon's demonic core and treasure trove. Mou looked at Su-Yi with a charming smile, as if she was born with temptation. She said, Wealth comes from danger. I guarantee that all the information I got is true. But if you don't dare to go, then forget it. I'll think of another way. At worst, I'll go out and ask for help from experts. If you want to go, then let's work together. Our chances are very high. If we succeed, we'll be rich. Su-Yi was thinking, if the Wolf King was in the demon true realm, then it would be very troublesome. He didn't even know if his primordial origin supreme art would be able to intimidate savage beasts like that. But if the Wolf King wasn't in the demon true realm, then the golden python and the others wouldn't be enough. But with his primordial origin supreme art, he might have a chance. In any case, all he had to do was get the treasure trove and the blazing sky flood dragon's demonic core. What do you think? Wealth comes from danger. Maybe the blazing sky flood dragon's treasure trove has quite a few amazing treasures. Mou smiled faintly. Her bright eyes were filled with amusement as she looked at Su-Yi's expression. All right, but I'll take 70% and you take 30%. Because once we start fighting, you'll be alone and I'll be the one to do it. Chapter 167. That's because that's the den of the barbarian frostwolves. The barbarian frostwolves love the cold. Wherever they go is like an ice cave, Mou said. Blazing sky dragon, barbarian frostwolves, Su-Yi whispered in his heart. He felt that something wasn't right. The blazing sky dragon was a fire-attributed barbarian frost beast. It loved hot places. Most of its lairs were volcanic areas, which were more suitable for cultivation. However, the barbarian frostwolves' habits were completely different from the blazing sky dragon's. Why would the blazing sky dragon take in such a group of barbarian frostwolves as followers? It would probably affect its cultivation. He felt that something was amiss and illogical, but he couldn't figure out what it was. Perhaps he was overthinking it. How many barbarian frost wolves are there? He asked. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy would you have a chance of winning. About 100, maybe more, Mo said. She didn't know the exact number. He frowned. He didn't even know how many barbarian frost wolves there were. If he wanted to get the blazing sky dragon's beast core and treasures, it would be troublesome. Do you have any ideas? Mo looked at Sui. She already tried everything she could think of. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been chased by the barbarian frost wolves last time. Spirit Butterfly, Jade Profound, go ahead and scout the situation. Don't get close. He pondered for a moment and said to the white Jade Profound Bird and Silver Spirit Butterfly, roar, awoo. Just as Su Yi's voice fell, the roar of a beast came from the void behind him. Hide, restrain your aura. He said. He immediately retracted his aura and turned around. Following Su Yi's gaze, he saw several huge, ferocious birds spreading their wings and flying towards him from the void. Several birds spread their wings and covered the sky like dark clouds. Their fierce eyes were like copper bells, and many figures stood on their backs. Roar! At the front was a ferocious beast covered in yellow scales. It looked like a tiger or a lion. It could fly and gallop in the air. An old man in his 50s sat on its back. It's them. When he saw this group of people, He immediately recognized them. This group of people was among the group of experts who surrounded the Blood Jade Spirit Ginseng. They seemed to be from the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance. Someone from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance. Looking at the group of people in the sky, Missouri Yu's expression changed. In the void, the group of people did not seem to notice Sui and the others as they flew away. They should be going to the blazing sky flood dragon's lair. Mou's expression changed slightly. Do you know them? He asked Mou, his eyes moved. No, I only know that they are from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance. Mou's expression grew serious as she continued to speak to Sui. Their goal should be the same as ours. You're saying that the people from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance are also here for the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon's monster core? He was astonished. If this group of experts from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance were also here for the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon's monster core and treasures, then his and the Golden Python's cultivation and strength were simply not enough. Should be. Mou seemed very certain as she nodded in reply. Hearing this, He frowned. Originally, the nest of barbarian frost wolves was not easy to deal with. At this moment, with the addition of the experts from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance, there was nothing for him to do. Suddenly, a large number of wolf howls came from the depths of the void in front of them. There was an intense energy fluctuation and an icy aura pervading the air. Immediately, an astonishing beast roar came. It was like a dragon's roar, like a clap of thunder exploding in the sky. Following such a dragon-like roar, Mou's expression changed slightly. Her gaze was fixed on the towering mountain peak in front of them. Could it be that blazing sky flood dragon? Sui's eyes trembled. This dragon-like roar was too powerful. Even from so far away, the sound was deafening, causing one's heart to tremble. Rumble, awoo. Immediately, an astonishing beast roar and the sound of energy colliding came from the front. Even from the distant void, one could feel the intensity of the fierce battle. Sui's gaze was fixed on the distance in front of him. There was an energy radiance soaring into the sky, filling the firmament. It's very intense. An absolute expert is making a move. Sui's eyes moved. He could be considered to have seen many experts. Not long ago, he had seen experts of the Demon Emperor Realm and the Origin Emperor Realm fighting. He was sure that this was an intense battle between experts. Do you want to go and take a look? Mou looked ahead. She did not look as shocked as Sui. Her eyes flickered with a crafty light. You guys stay here and wait for me. Sui nodded and gritted his teeth. Then, he let the Golden Python and the others stay here. With the cultivation of the Golden Python, Debeo, and Shaoling, they might not even have the strength to participate in the fierce battle ahead. My lord, it's dangerous ahead. The Golden Python, Hell Rat, and the others were worried about Sui. Feeling the intensity of the fierce battle ahead, they were all frightened. "I'll be careful. You guys stay here." Sui had already decided that he could at least go and take a look at the situation. Since he was already here, even if he could not get the monster core of the blazing sky flood dragon, he had to at least see it with his own eyes. "Go, be careful. Don't get too close. Restrain your aura, or you will be discovered by them," Imoyu said. Then, she and Sui went forward. A moment later, in front of the huge, majestic mountain peak that towered into the clouds. Behind a huge rock on the small mountain, Sui and Imoyu bent down and looked at the sky and the ground in front of them. They were both dumbfounded. On the ground, there were no less than 500 barbaric frost wolves covering the mountain peak. They raised their heads and roared, spitting out icy light pillars. In the sky, there were also 8 barbaric frost wolves with huge bodies. They stood in the air and surrounded a dozen or so Origin Void stage human experts in a fierce battle. The largest barbaric frost wolf in the lead was over 10 meters long. Its entire body was covered in ice like snow-white crystals. Under the illumination of the light, it sparkled. Its icy aura was monstrous and its fangs were gleaming. "That's the Wolf King." Sui was stunned. That kind of aura was definitely the Wolf King of this pack of barbaric frost wolves. The terrifying battle was incomparably fierce. The dozen or so Origin Void stage experts had already separated. The demonic beast mounts they were riding were also besieged by the barbaric frost wolves. "How can there be so many barbaric frost wolves? Didn't you say it wouldn't be a big problem?" Sui's expression instantly changed, and he glared at Imoyu. Imoyu said there were not many barbaric frost wolves, and that the Wolf King might not have reached the Demon True Realm. However, the result that Sui saw was the complete opposite. Chapter 168. I didn't expect that a few days ago, before I even got close, I was discovered and chased by the barbarian frost wolves. Imoyu was also dumbfounded. This was also beyond her expectations. There were so many barbarian frost wolves in this nest. Most importantly, there were so many barbarian frost wolves experts. "Evil creatures, you are courting death." A deep roar was heard as the elder riding on the tiger lion-like barbarian beast roared. The barbarian beast roared as its huge body swooped down. Its sharp claws were like hooks, tearing the barbarian frost wolves on the ground into pieces. Bang! Bang! The huge energy shock wave blasted away a few barbarian frost wolves. The old man's expression was gloomy as well. With a wave of his hand, a surge of Origin energy gushed out like a storm, causing over 10 barbaric frost wolves to be flung flying before smashing into the rocks of the cliff and transforming into a bloody mist. "Human, this is the barbarian frost Grand Canyon. You are the ones courting death." The Wolf King roared. After stepping into the demon illusionary realm, it was able to speak human language. As the roar faded, the Wolf King's icy aura filled the sky. It was as though frost was falling from the sky. With a leap, it soared dozens of feet into the air. Its sharp claws were like hooks as it grabbed at the elder. "Be my mount and submit to me, and I will spare your life." The elder knew that his mount wasn't a match for the Wolf King. He was afraid that it would be affected. With a roar, he soared into the sky. His fist was wrapped in Yuan-Chi radiance as it collided with the Wolf King's claw. Bang! With a dull sound, the energy radiance surged along with the frost. It was as though it had caused a storm. Chila, the Wolf King, was very strong, but the elder in his 50s was already at the Origin Emperor realm. He was instantly blasted back as dark red blood flowed out from his mouth. Being injured in one move, the Wolf King's fierce eyes were secretly filled with fear. "I will subdue you first." JP the Elder in his 50s sneered and took the opportunity to charge at the Wolf King with a surging aura. Roar! At that moment, the dragon-like roar was heard again. It was earth-shattering and resounded throughout the land. This loud roar caused the figure of the old man in his 50s to stop as he looked at the towering mountain peak that pierced through the clouds. There was a huge cave there surrounded by ice. Icicles hung upside down, covering the entrance of the cave. Under the flickering light, it was difficult to see clearly. Boom! As that dragon-like beast roar came out, light filled the depths of the cave, and a scorching aura swept out. In the next moment, a huge figure rushed out of the cave, bringing with it countless icicles that pierced the sky. Then it automatically dissipated in the void. Roar! With a thunderous roar, a dragon that was dozens of feet long appeared in the sky. Its body was covered in flames, and the surrounding cold aura dissipated with its appearance. The world turned from icy cold to blazing hot. The flood dragon soared through the sky, and the surrounding flames were like waves that drowned its body. Its crimson eyes seemed to contain volcanoes, and on the head of the strange flood dragon, there were clusters of fire dancing, and its scales opened and closed. This flood dragon also had a pair of crimson wings. As it flapped, flames swept out like a volcanic eruption, covering the sky and covering the earth. Roar! When such a flood dragon appeared, the barbaric frost wolves on the ground immediately retreated with a roar, as if they could not withstand the intense heat. The eyes of the barbaric frost wolves and human experts who were fighting fiercely in the void trembled. Especially the human experts. They seemed to have sensed something, and their eyes secretly changed. The flood dragon soared through the sky, and an invisible pressure filled the air, causing the humans and barbaric frost beasts to tremble. Blazing Sky Flood Dragon. Is this the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon? He was shocked, and his eyes could not help but tremble. Such a sky-blazing dragon was definitely not inferior to the aura of the Demon Emperor Realm experts that he had encountered with the 9 Lives Demon Cat. It did not look like a 9th-level Demon Void Stage expert, nor did it look like it was on its last breath. Oh no, this Blazing Sky Flood Dragon has broken through to the Demon Emperor stage. Almost at the same time, Emoyu's shocked voice could not help but sound out. Her gaze was even more shocked than Su Yi's. Didn't you say this Blazing Sky Flood Dragon was on its last breath? Su Yi turned to glare at Moyu. This woman really did not speak the truth. Fortunately, the experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance suddenly appeared. Otherwise, he would be miserable now. I don't know why, but I'm sure this Blazing Sky Flood Dragon was heavily injured by Flying Tiger Chung Jian not long ago. Moyu is serious. She absolutely did not conceal this point. Didn't you not know that guy? He rolled his eyes at Moyu. I really don't know him. I only know he's from the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance, and I know his name. This person has quite a reputation in the barbaric demon forest. Moyu said, Chung Jian, you still dare to come to my abode? This time, you're courting death. In the sky, the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon spoke to Chung Jian. His voice was low and deep, and it was as deafening as a dragon's roar. Looking at the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon, Chung Jian's gaze was also secretly astonished. He said, I didn't expect you to actually escape this calamity and take the opportunity to break through to the Demon Emperor realm. I still have to thank you, but you're dead today. The Blazing Sky Flood Dragon coldly stared at Chung Jian. Is that so? You should have just broken through not long ago. It seems like you haven't even passed the form transformation calamity. I think you're still going to die today. Chung Jian spoke. Looking at the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon, he seemed to be secretly vigilant. He lightly raised his hand, and a 7-feet-long spear suddenly appeared in his hand. This spear was not an ordinary object. It was covered in a red radiance, and a fierce aura swept out from the spear, shaking the surrounding void. Although I've just stepped into the Demon Emperor realm, it's more than enough to deal with you. You're courting death. Looking at Chung Jian, the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon roared, as if he didn't want to waste any time. After a low roar, his wings flapped, and a monstrous flame spread out from his body. In the end, it formed a wave of fire and poured toward Chung Jian with an earth-shattering force. The wave of fire seemed to cover half of the sky, and the terrible heat caused the surrounding void to emit white smoke. This high temperature made Su Yi and Moyu, who were hiding behind the rock, feel the terrible heat. The hair on their bodies stood on end. So powerful. Their eyes trembled, and their throats were boiling. The blazing sky flood dragon had such a terrible momentum as soon as he attacked. Evil creature, Cheng Jian roared. On the surface of his body, a layer of yuan qi light shield covered him, and the spear in his hand shone brightly. In the next moment, Cheng Jian's figure did not retreat. Instead, a great aura surged. With a flick of his spear, light gushed out, and a crack was torn open in the monstrous flame pouring toward the blazing sky flood dragon. Roar! Seeing Cheng Jian coming, the blazing sky flood dragon roared in a low voice. From his ferocious mouth, a crimson flame light column spurted out and collided with Cheng Jian's spear. Chi! Such a collision instantly exploded in mid-air. Chapter 169. Boom! At the same time that the blazing energy swept out, Cheng Jian made his move once again. The profound qi beneath his feet seemed to have formed a cloud that rotated at the bottom of his feet. His figure also transformed into a bolt of lightning, instantly crossing the surging energy. After that, he appeared in front of the blazing sky dragon, and the long spear in his hand swiftly pierced out. Whoosh! In front of the spear, there was a blazing flame that swept out. It was like a fire dragon spewing flames. The terrifying blazing energy burned the void. Facing such an attack, the blazing sky dragon's fierce eyes darkened. Blazing smoke filled its nostrils. With a deep groan, its huge tail swept out. The blazing sky dragon's huge body was incomparably agile as it directly collided with the spear. Clang clang. The spear and the blazing sky dragon's huge tail collided. Sparks flew out from the scales of the blazing sky dragon's huge tail, and the crisp sound of metal clashing resounded in the air. Wherever the spear passed, it only left a shallow, grayish-white mark on the scales of the blazing sky dragon. This mark only existed for a moment before it completely disappeared. The blazing sky dragon did not seem to be afraid of Cheng Jian's attack at all. The ferocious dragon beast suddenly raised its head and opened its mouth to spit out a bloody tongue. A blazing flame rapidly spewed out from its mouth. The blazing flame caused Cheng Jian's expression to darken. Open! Slightly frowning, Cheng Jian waved his sleeve, and a surge of yuan qi energy turned into a handprint that was pushed out. Like a hurricane, it scattered the blazing flame. Seeing that this attack was ineffective, the blazing sky dragon did not seem to care. Its giant tail moved horizontally, and its eyes suddenly shone brightly. The scales on the giant tail opened and opened like countless sharp blades, emitting a whistling sound that pierced through the air and suddenly swept towards Cheng Jian. It seemed that it was too late for Cheng Jian to retreat. Looking at the blazing sky dragon's attack, the fire attribute yuan qi in front of him condensed into a light shield that blocked in front of him. Crack! The huge tail swung horizontally on the fire attribute yuan qi light shield. Immediately, many small cracks appeared on the light shield. With a cracking sound, it turned into flames that filled the sky. Fire dance, wild dragon. A loud shout came from Cheng Jian's mouth. The spear in his hand was resplendent, as if something had been awakened. A monstrous blazing aura erupted. From afar, this attack was like an awakened fire dragon that charged towards the blazing sky dragon with a powerful aura. Roar! The sky's scorching dragon roared angrily. The aura on his body was monstrous, and waves of fire were released from his body. In the sky, as the blazing sky flood dragon and Cheng Jian fought, the surrounding experts of the Berserk Dragon Mercenary Alliance and many experts of the Barbarian Frostwolves started fighting again. Rumble, for a moment, the fierce battle. The most intense battle was naturally between Cheng Jian and the blazing sky flood dragon. The blazing sky dragon's body. Although the sky-blazing dragon had just broken through to the demon royal realm, his attack was powerful and unstoppable. Although Cheng Jian seemed to be constantly retreating, he didn't seem to have the upper hand. After all, The blazing sky dragon had been in the Yuan Emperor realm for some time. His aura was steady. Although he didn't seem to have the upper hand, he didn't fall into a disadvantageous position either. Looking at the scene of the fierce battle, the roars of the beasts were like thunder, and their auras were monstrous. He was secretly speechless, especially the fierce battle between the blazing sky dragon and Changjian. Just the energy ripples that swept out were enough to prevent Yuan Zhen realm cultivators from being affected. This is troublesome. The strength of both sides is about the same. I'm afraid it will be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Even if the winner is determined, if they don't have any special trump cards, I'm afraid both sides will suffer. Mou stared at the battle in the sky and carefully sized it up. She said to Sui, "It will be difficult to determine the winner in a short time." Sui looked at the battlefield. The two sides were locked in a fierce battle. His eyes flickered as if he was deciding on something, but he couldn't make a decision. "What are you thinking about?" Mou asked when she noticed Sui's expression. "Wealth comes from danger. Let's take a gamble." Sui suddenly looked up. His eyes were filled with light, as if he had made a decision. He looked at Mou and asked, "Are you interested in going to the blazing sky dragon's lair? If you are lucky, you might be able to gain something." "What? You want to go to the blazing sky dragon's lair now?" Hearing Sui's words, Mou couldn't help but be stunned. The blazing sky dragon was right in front of him, and there were so many ice barbaric wolves nearby. Wasn't this courting death? There must be no other barbaric beasts in the blazing sky dragon's lair now. The bold ones are full, and the cowardly ones are starved to death. Sui laughed mischievously. His eyes flickered. Sui didn't want to get the blazing sky dragon's monster core. However, it was said that the blazing sky dragon liked to collect treasures. Naturally, it would hide in its lair. At this moment, the blazing sky dragon and Changjian were locked in a fierce battle. Sui thought that if he could sneak in and everything went smoothly, it would be the safest. Wealth comes from danger. As soon as he finished speaking, Sui immediately crawled out. He completely concealed his aura and walked toward the blazing sky dragon's lair on the mountain peak. This guy is really bold. Interesting. Mou was stunned. Then, her eyes flickered. Her eyes were filled with light. She smiled and no longer focused. There was a sly glint in the depths of her eyes. Rumble. Oh, the battle around them was earth-shattering. The air was scorching hot. Below them, there was a bone-chilling aura. This part of the world was suddenly filled with thunderous beast roars. Muffled sounds kept exploding. The earth shook and the mountains shook. The energy wind swept in all directions. Sui carefully hid in the bushes and crevices of the rocks. He walked toward the entrance of the cave on the mountain peak. Mou followed behind Sui. Her aura was completely concealed. Just like this, the two small figures shuttled to the mountain peak. They were really not noticed. The closer they got to the entrance of the cave, the colder the temperature became. Not a single blade of grass grew in the surroundings. The ground and rocks were covered with ice that was hard to melt. Sui did not dare to use his Yuan Qi. He was afraid that if he leaked a trace of his aura, even if the blazing sky dragon was fighting fiercely, it would be enough to discover him immediately. Fortunately, Sui's physical strength was not small. His 5 fingers were like knives. He was able to leave shallow marks on hard ice. He did not slide down. He slowly crawled up. Mou's hands and feet were slippery. It was difficult for her to move forward. After seeing Sui's movements, her eyes secretly moved. She imitated him and was able to follow closely behind. The fierce battle in the distance was incomparably fierce. No one would have thought that 2 small figures would sneak into the cave. "I'm in." Sui finally climbed into the cave by clinging onto an icicle that had already been broken by the impact. Huff, huff. His eyebrows were covered with frost. This ice aura was not small. However, Sui did not dare to use his Yuan Qi to resist the cold. Chapter 170. If he didn't have the diamond body of the mixed Yuan demon body, Sui wouldn't have been able to get close to this place. This cave was the habitat of a pack of frost barbaric wolves. The surrounding ice had already reached a point where it was difficult to thaw. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to get close at all. They would be frozen into ice from a distance. Quickly go in. I'll take you to find the treasure. Hurry up. Mou also climbed into the cave. Her dress fluttered in the wind, and her skin flashed with a white and translucent light. Her eyes were quick-witted, revealing a bit of craftiness. At this moment, she lost some of her otherworldly temperament and looked more like a wish. I'm the one who brought you here. He rolled his eyes. Fortunately, his luck was good, and he didn't take the risk to barge in. Otherwise, he would be in trouble today. It doesn't matter if you brought me here or I brought you here. Right now, Cheng Jian is fighting with the blazing sky flood dragon. We don't have much time. Quickly find the treasure and take it. Otherwise, whether Cheng Jian or the blazing sky flood dragon finds us, we're dead. Mou's face carried a smile. Clearly, she took advantage of the fierce battle to secretly find the treasure. However, she said it in a serious manner, like a female bodhisattva. You're even more shameless than me. He was speechless. This woman was even more shameless than him. However, she was right. They had to hurry up. The two didn't dare to delay. They immediately went deeper into the cave. This cave was unknown how long it was. It was surrounded by thick ice. Many icicles hung upside down in the cave, emitting light. In the thick ice, they could occasionally see many white bones. It made their hair stand on end. This isn't normal. The blazing sky flood dragon is a fire-type barbaric beast. This cave is really not suitable for its nest. He frowned. Although this cave was big enough, it was too cold. The deeper they went, the colder it became. So cold, Mou was already shivering from the cold. She didn't dare to use her Xian Qi to resist the cold. She hugged her arms and shivered. Mou secretly glanced at Su from time to time. She was secretly puzzled. This guy's cultivation was obviously lower than hers, but he didn't seem to be cold at all. This guy isn't simple. Mou thought. This was enough to prove that this guy's body wasn't simple. After an unknown amount of time, the ice in the cave suddenly became thinner and thinner. The icy aura seemed to have weakened all of a sudden. While Su was astonished, the ice around the cave had completely dissipated after 1,000 feet. There's no more ice. In front of them was a slanted cave that seemed to go deep into the mountain. It appeared in front of Su and Mou's eyes. The entrance of the cave was pitch black, but a scorching aura was faintly emitted from it. Is it a volcano? Su frowned inwardly. Back then, when he was in the barbaric demon forest looking for a volcano to cultivate his diamond body, his first reaction was that there might be a volcano hidden in the belly of this mountain. Let's go down and take a look. This cave is cold on the outside and hot on the inside. It is quite suitable for the blazing sky flood dragon to use as its lair. Mou said. Her eyebrows were slightly raised, and there was a bit of excitement in her eyes. At the very least, this proved that this was the nest of the blazing sky flood dragon. At the same time, a light flashed through Mou's eyes. She knew her true purpose for coming here. If the rumors were true, then this time, he was really going to get a great opportunity. Let's go in. He did not hesitate too much. Since they had already taken the risk to come here, there was no reason not to go in. The two carefully entered the cave. There was no more ice inside, so it was dark. The entire cave was pitch black and incomparably deep. It was terrifying. In this kind of deep darkness, even though Su and Mou were cultivators and their eyesight was much better than ordinary people, it was still difficult for them to see. Fortunately, in the depths of the cave, there was a flickering light from nowhere, allowing Su and Mou to go deeper. Inside the cave, it was dead silent. There was no sound at all. It was so quiet that even the sound of a heartbeat could be heard clearly. As they went deeper into the cave, the aura inside became hotter and hotter. After going a few thousand feet deep, in the end, the blazing aura made Su and Mou sweat profusely. Bean-sized drops of sweat flowed down their cheeks, wetting their clothes. Suddenly, Mou screamed and retracted her hand that was holding the rock. The temperature of the rock was unbearable for her. Su-yi turned around and warned Imoyu to be careful with his eyes. Su-yi could still withstand this temperature. After all, he was someone who had tempered his body with volcanoes. A scale of a flood dragon. Suddenly, Su-yi found a palm-sized scale. It looked like pure gold and was incomparably hard. It was the scale of the blazing sky flood dragon. It must have fallen off from it. The scale of a demon emperor stage blazing sky flood dragon was very valuable and could be considered a treasure. It was the favorite of those refiners, and it was enough to refine some good weapons, armors, and so on. Su-yi was not polite. He immediately put the scale of the blazing sky flood dragon into his space bag. Is there anything else? After more than 10 steps, Su-yi picked up another scale of the blazing sky flood dragon. The terrain ahead was getting wider and wider, and the temperature was getting higher and higher. The rocks on the surrounding rock walls also gradually turned into a crimson color, shining brightly in the surroundings. ZX knew most of fast up percent. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Imoyu was panting. Her hair was drenched in sweat, and her face was flushed red. Hula, she really couldn't take it anymore. Imoyu released the yuan qi in her body, and a faint blood-colored yuan qi fluctuated on the surface of her body. Instantly, the blazing aura was dispelled, and she felt much better. Be careful, Su-yi frowned. Fortunately, he didn't encounter any barbaric beasts in the cave. Otherwise, once he used his yuan qi, he would be immediately detected. The terrain was flat, and they were no longer deep. This place seemed to have reached the depths of the mountain. There was a different world inside, as if there was a world of its own. There's fire. The temperature rose, and it was incomparably hot. On the rocks and walls, there were flashes of fire from time to time. Su-yi also started to use his yuan qi. It was really too hot. Otherwise, the soles of his shoes and clothes would have burst into flames. Look, suddenly, Imoyu exclaimed and couldn't help but open her mouth. Su-yi's gaze was already fixed in front of him, and it fluctuated violently. At this moment, in front of him, there was light everywhere, flickering with all kinds of radiance. There was a rich energy fluctuation. In the depths of the scorching ground, there was a pile of yuan stones of various attributes piled up into a small mountain. They emitted light and energy fluctuations. There were also many weapons. Some of them were flickering with mysterious runes and emitting a fierce aura. They didn't seem to be ordinary weapons. In the flickering light, many strange objects were piled up together. Flaming diamond, green hellish iron, heavenly ice rock. This seems to be the horn of the berserk single-horned demonic bull. Chapter 171. Su-yi was also surprised. This pile of strange objects, none of them were simple, but they were all refining treasures. Flame diamond, green hell iron, berserk one-horned demonic bull's horn, they were all absolute treasures for refining weapons, priceless. Although the pile of primordial stones were all one-star primordial stones. But Su-yi estimated that this pile of primordial stones was at least a few 100,000. There was also a pile of weapons, at least 100 of them. These weapons were not ordinary weapons, but treasures that had reached the level of primordial weapons. The most common weapons used by martial artists were called primordial weapons, and they were made of steel. In this world, there were weapons that surpassed primordial weapons, and they were made by powerful refiners. The levels of weapons were divided into primordial weapons, dark weapons, spirit weapons, Dao weapons, magic weapons, and then sacred weapons. It was rumored that divine weapons once existed in this world, but no one had ever seen it with their own eyes. It was said that even the legendary 7th-grade refiners were unable to refine divine weapons, and even sacred weapons were difficult to refine. Moreover, 7th-grade refiners were the same as 7th-grade alchemists, which only existed in legends. The materials to refine sacred weapons were also only in legends. Dark weapons, refined by refiners, were not on the same level as primordial weapons. Walala. Su-yi was still in shock, but Imoyu had already made her move. Without saying a word, She opened the space bag and collected the refining materials. Su-yi was stunned, and his eyes were a little dazed. Looking at this woman's posture, this was definitely not the first time. Instantly, Su-yi opened the space bag, and his left and right hands moved together, first collecting the pile of weapons, then pouncing towards the pile of primordial stones. He could not let the woman take advantage of him. Quickly give me a few space bags, and let's finish this quickly. After collecting these treasures, we have to leave immediately, Mou said to Su-yi. She only had one space bag on her, and it was returned by Su-yi. The space of a space bag was limited, and Mou was not like Su-yi at this moment. She had a lot of space bags on her. Let me do this kind of physical work. How can I let a girl do it? Su-yi said, but his hands did not slow down at all. He was stuffing the pile of primordial stones into a space bag. Naturally, he would not give a space bag to Mou. All right, thank you for your hard work. I'll see if there's anything else. Mou didn't seem to care. A light flashed in her eyes. She moved to the side as if she was really searching for something. Su-yi was also secretly surprised that this woman actually trusted him so much. Su-yi's first instinct told him that something was amiss. Logically speaking, although they had agreed on a 40-60 split, with this woman's temperament, she would not be so unguarded against him. Su-yi pondered, but he did not stop what he was doing. As he stuffed the origin stones into his interspatial bag, he secretly paid attention to Mou. Before entering the lair of the blazing sky flood dragon, Su-yi felt that Mou was not telling the truth. She was definitely hiding something from him. She clearly knew that there was no hope for the beast core, so she came for the treasure. However, at this moment, Mou did not show any interest in the origin stones and other treasures of the blazing sky flood dragon. This made Su-yi feel strange. This cave was very big. There were volcanic rocks everywhere, emitting an incomparably hot aura. Mou carefully looked around as if she was searching for something. In the depths of the cave, there was a shallow pit. There was a faint flame in the air as if it came from the depths of the ground. In the shallow pit, there was an oval-shaped egg about the size of a baby. This egg was very special. It was filled with a red radiance and was covered with mysterious patterns. This egg was burned by the flames in the pit, but there were no cracks. Instead, it was emitting a red radiance. It flashed as if it was absorbing the flames. This is it. I found it. When Mou saw this oval-shaped egg, her face immediately revealed an excited expression. She was about to carry the oval-shaped egg out. What's this? At this moment, Su-yi suddenly appeared and blocked in front of Mou. Su-yi was secretly watching Mou's every move. At this moment, looking at Mou's expression, Su-yi guessed that this was Mou's true goal. Seeing Su-yi staring at her, Mou knew that she could not hide it anymore. She said, "A blazing sky flood dragon's egg. A blazing sky flood dragon's egg." Su-yi had already guessed that this was the lair of the blazing sky flood dragon. This egg was filled with an extraordinary aura. It could only be the egg of the blazing sky flood dragon. That's your real goal. Looking at Mou, Su-yi frowned. If a blazing sky flood dragon's egg bred a blazing sky flood dragon's baby, its value would be immeasurable. I just came to try my luck. I didn't expect there to be one. Mou looked at the egg in front of her with her big, beautiful eyes. She was a little excited. She did not expect there to be a blazing sky flood dragon's egg. She continued to say to Su, "A blazing sky flood dragon's egg is very likely to breed a blazing sky flood dragon's baby. However, the blazing sky flood dragon has already broken through to the demon emperor realm. If we take its egg, I'm afraid it will hunt us down." Mou was a little afraid. After all, the blazing sky flood dragon had already stepped into the demon emperor realm. It was not a small matter. Taking its egg would undoubtedly make the blazing sky flood dragon extremely furious. Once they were chased by the demon emperor realm blazing sky flood dragon, they would not be able to escape. Anyway, it's already here, Su-yi whispered. His eyes were already fixed on the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. He secretly revealed a blazing expression. They had already taken the treasure. Once the blazing sky flood dragon found it, it would not let it go. 3Z's head be hair? All along, he had been dreaming of having a majestic savage beast as a mount. When he saw the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, Yi's eyes immediately lit up. If he could have a savage beast like the blazing sky flood dragon as a mount, how majestic would that be? Come, in for a penny, in for a pound. With a stride, Yi immediately rushed up. Yuan Shi filled the air and shook off the flames on the ground. He held the egg in his arms. Yi originally thought that the egg would be incomparably hot after being burned by the fire. He was prepared to use his Yuan Shi to protect his body. However, when the egg fell into his hands, Yi was slightly surprised. The egg was crimson red and overflowed with light. However, it was as cool as the clouds. He could not feel the heat at all. Mou was moved. She was still a little hesitant. She did not expect that guy to directly take the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Her expression immediately darkened. Mou secretly gritted her teeth and said to Yi in a hurry, "Let's go. We have to leave this place as soon as possible." Yi nodded. They had already obtained the blazing sky flood dragon's egg and the treasure. If they did not leave now, when would they? The sooner they left, the better. Chapter 172. Crack, crack. Suddenly, just as Yi picked up the egg of the blazing sky flood dragon and was about to leave, the sound of a turtle cracking came from the shallow pit. The ground began to crack, and the flames that spread out became even more intense. The blazing aura became more and more intense. Crack, 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 crack. At this moment, the entire underground cave seemed to have been pulled by something. One crack after another spread out from the shallow pit, where he had just taken the blazing sky flood dragon egg. It followed the ground to the rock walls, and even the ceiling of the cave began to crack. Walala! Flames whizzed out from the densely packed cracks in the ground. They gathered together and immediately surged. In the blink of an eye, crimson red liquid began to bubble out of the shallow pit. Under such a high temperature, Yi and Mou's skin began to burn painfully. What's going on? Mou's expression changed. All of this happened too quickly. The entire underground cave was on the verge of collapsing, as if it was about to collapse. At this moment, Yi's gaze suddenly turned towards the shallow pit. For some reason, he felt a chill run down his spine, and his heart trembled. There seemed to be something inside that was about to crawl out. Walala! The bubbling bright red liquid suddenly exploded. The hot liquid splashed out like magma. Soon after, a frightening flame directly spat out. It seemed to cover the sky and the earth. In an instant, it covered this large, deep hole. Run! We're in big trouble now. Mou's expression also turned serious, revealing a shocked expression. That is, Yi's eyes were wide open, and within the flames that erupted, there seemed to be a small figure that appeared, its entire body wrapped in magma-like flames. Swish! Very quickly, that small figure appeared. The magma receded, and it was the size of a rooster. It had a long neck and a sharp mouth. There seemed to be a ball of flesh on its head, like a chicken's comb. It had a scarlet gold color, a sharp mouth, and round eyes. They were black and bright, but they carried a kind of light. There were small ears behind its eyes, but they were covered by fur. It had a pair of short legs with 5 claws, and a pair of short wings with a layer of fluffy feathers that were scarlet red in color. A rooster! Yi was dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes with all his might, as if he couldn't believe it. However, the result was still the same. Yi was not mistaken. What emerged from the underground flames was a rooster, and it was a featherless rooster that only had 2 or 3 feathers covering its body. A rooster emerged from the ground. This caused Yi to be dumbfounded. What is that? A chicken. Mou also saw the rooster. She was also stunned. She couldn't believe that a rooster had crawled out of the underground fire. It seems like a turkey. Yi was stunned. He held the blazing sky flood dragon's egg in his arms and stared blankly. He wondered how the chicken would taste after being roasted in the fire. sizzle. However, Suyi's thoughts were in vain. The rooster emerged, flapping its wings, shaking off the flames on its body. Immediately, its small body ran directly towards Su-Yi and Mou. This rooster walked, its tail raised up and down, and it even brought along a trail of sparks. It looked quite interesting. "It's burning me to death, run, run." This rooster ran while shouting as if its butt was on fire. Its voice was very pleasant, and its pair of golden claws were very sharp. When it landed, it even dug a hole. "This turkey can talk." Su-Yi and Mou looked at each other, dumbfounded again. At this moment, this rooster was not speaking beast language, but human language. "Run!" Su-Yi immediately shouted in a low voice. Without any hesitation, he held the blazing sky flood dragon's egg in his arms and ran away immediately. A talking rooster, that was at least a demonic illusory realm barbaric beast. Mou also did not hesitate. She directly followed Su-Yi and ran toward the road they came from. Whoosh! This chicken's tail followed behind Su-Yi and Mou, flapping its pathetic-looking fleshy wings. Sparks flew everywhere, but behind it, flames and magma surged even more fiercely, filling the deep cave with high temperature. "Hey, human, give me a ride. I don't have any strength left." That rooster saw Su-Yi and Mou and shouted at Su-Yi and Mou as it ran. Rumble! The entire deep cave was also cracking, and some rocks began to fall, and some rocks began to turn into powder under the high temperature. That rooster is catching up. This cave seems to be collapsing. Su-Yi and Mou ran, and their expressions changed greatly. Not only was that inexplicable rooster chasing after them, the cave was also shaking, as if it was about to collapse. Soon, Su-Yi and Mou went up the deep cave and reached the cave passage. Behind them, surging flames and magma had already rushed out, as if they were going to engulf everything. The terrifying heat made one's soul shrink. The cave was also shaking, and the ice that was originally difficult to melt in front of them was quickly melting under the high temperature. Awoo! Out of nowhere, many frost brute wolf pups ran out, and there were at least 100 of them. These frost brute wolf pups seemed to have sensed something, and they howled incessantly. Their eyes were filled with fear, and they quickly ran out of the cave, completely ignoring Su-Yi and Mou. "Quick, run quickly!" As Su-Yi ran, he put the 1,000-pound broken sword on his back in his space bag, and immediately felt as light as a swallow. "What are you doing?" Just as Su-Yi was about to put the blazing sky flood dragon's egg into his space bag, Mou looked at Su-Yi in shock and asked, "Put it away." "Put it away. If the blazing sky dragon outside sees it, we'll be in trouble." Su-Yi said to Mou and put the blazing sky dragon's egg into his interspatial bag. If the blazing sky flood dragon outside saw him holding the egg, Su-Yi didn't need to think to know that even 10 lives wouldn't be enough for the blazing sky flood dragon to kill him. "Stop! You can't put living things in a space bag, and this egg is most likely alive. Do you want to kill it?" Mou glared at Su-Yi. If it weren't for the fact that they were still running for their lives, she probably would have kicked him already. "Really?" Su-Yi was stunned. He really didn't know. However, regardless of whether this woman was telling the truth or not, Su-Yi didn't dare to take the risk at this moment. "Human, I really can't run anymore. Give me a ride." The rooster behind them seemed to have no strength left. It was running away with all its strength with its tail between its legs, and its appearance was quite amusing. "Run." Su-Yi didn't want to come into contact with a rooster of unknown origin that might be at the demon illusionary realm or above. Behind them, there was still a monstrous explosion of lava. This cave was probably going to collapse, so Su-Yi increased his speed, taking off the 1,000-pound broken sword on his back. Su-Yi's speed also increased dramatically. Originally, Su-Yi's speed was a bit slower than Mou's. Now that he was as light as a swallow, and with the addition of the rising Yao's Hunter transformation steps, he immediately caught up. Chapter 173. Bang Bang. Iolo. The fierce battle outside continued. Low sonic booms resounded, and the roars of beasts were like thunder. Resplendent origin chi rays interweaved and bloomed in the air. The battle between Chengjian and the blazing sky flood dragon was also locked in a stalemate. Chengjian's hair was already disheveled, and a few cracks had appeared on the scales on the blazing sky flood dragon's body. Rumble. Suddenly, the towering mountain peak shook with a rumble, and an aura shook heaven and earth for no reason. The barbarian frost wolves and the blazing sky flood dragon, who were fighting fiercely, felt the commotion at the first moment and were immediately alarmed. That kind of vibration affected heaven and earth for no reason, causing Chengjian and the other experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance to raise their heads and look into the distance. Aoo! Gee, the commotion in the four-way canyon alarmed all the beasts. The roars of beasts came from afar, and there were ferocious beasts galloping, leaping and galloping between the mountains and valleys. There were ferocious birds flapping their wings and flying through the air. All the beasts were startled, and they rushed in panic with great momentum. Aoo! Aoo! The wolves howled incessantly, and a large group of barbarian frost wolves immediately rushed out from the rumbling cave on the mountain peak. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the barbarian frost wolf pups lost their heads out of fear and rushed down. Some of the wolf pups even tumbled down the frozen mountain path. Ew! The barbarian frost wolves raised their heads and roared. Immediately, many barbarian frost wolves rushed forward to protect their cubs. The blazing sky flood dragon's huge body retreated and stopped attacking Chengjian. It looked at the cave, and the gaze in its fierce eyes suddenly changed. It immediately rushed towards the mountain peak. Quick, restrain your aura and hide among these barbarian frost wolves. The moment Su-Yi rushed out of the cave with the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, he immediately retracted his aura. His figure followed the galloping barbarian frost wolves and slid down the icy mountain path. Mou's eyes moved, and she was secretly surprised. She followed Su-Yi's actions and followed closely behind. There were many barbarian frost wolf pups. Although they were pups, many of them were much larger than Su-Yi and Mou. Coupled with this sort of chaos and shocking unexpected event, it was sufficient for Su-Yi and Mou to hide within this large expanse of barbaric frost wolf cubs. Roar! The sky blaze flood dragon roared with an anxious expression and a serious expression. It flew over the heads of Su-Yi, Mou, and the others, and charged explosively into the cave. Su-Yi slid down the icy mountain path. After passing the area covered in ice, he didn't dare to continue. Many barbarian frost wolves had already pounced on him. This way. Su-Yi said to Mou, and immediately rolled, taking advantage of the opportunity to land between the craggy boulders. Mou followed, but her movements weren't as practiced as Su-Yi's. She seemed to be in a very sorry state and almost crashed into a huge rock. Rumble, the entire majestic mountain was already shaking, and small rocks began to roll down from the top. Walala, rolling magma overflowed from within the cave. Flames swept through the air and poured down from the sky. Wherever they passed, rocks would be instantly burned into nothingness. The volcano has already erupted. This is bad. Let's leave quickly. Su-Yi cried out in alarm. If they were to be submerged in this volcanic magma, even 10 lives wouldn't be enough to kill them. He immediately shuttled through the cracks between the craggy rocks and ran in the opposite direction of the barbarian frost wolves and the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance. At this moment, in this tense atmosphere, Mou completely followed behind Su-Yi and didn't say anything. Rumble, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. A large amount of magma had already poured down, and it was as if a rainstorm was falling from the sky. This part of the world suddenly became violent, and the rolling magma that soared into the sky turned into a lava flow that surged out. There were volcanic clouds that reached the sky, causing lightning to flash and thunder to roll. Rumble. Huge forked lightning converged into a thunderbolt, accompanied by raging flames and lava, engulfing everything. Such a terrifying scene was shocking and astonishing. The blazing high temperature caused raging flames to appear in the air for no reason. Starting from the entrance of the cave, a sea of fire could be seen flowing across the sky. Rumble, the crazy waves of fire suddenly swept in all directions, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they attacked and poured down in all directions. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Not good. We're in big trouble. Everything happened too quickly. He quickly retreated, but he didn't have enough time to escape. Screech! At this moment, a cry resounded. The fiery savage bird rushed over and swooped down. The beast language fell into Su Yi's ears. "Sir, danger! Come up quickly." Fiery savage bird. Su Yi revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He didn't expect the fiery savage bird to suddenly appear. Whoosh! Taking advantage of the fiery savage bird's dive, Su Yi's profound chi surged under his feet, and he immediately jumped up. Holding the egg in one hand and the feathers on the back of the fiery savage bird with the other, Su Yi jumped onto the back of the fiery savage bird. Whoosh! Mou also jumped onto the back of the fiery savage bird. Her posture was much more graceful and beautiful than Su Yi's. "WQ, wait for me. Give me a ride." The bald turkey suddenly jumped out of nowhere and seemed to have been following behind Su Yi and Mou. At this moment, it flapped its pair of short, fluffy wings and landed directly on the back of the fiery savage bird. Its 5 claws tightly held onto the fiery savage bird's feathers. Although the fiery savage bird was surprised to see a bald turkey, it still thought that it was with Su Yi. There was no time at all, so it immediately spread its wings and flew away. Su Yi and Mou looked at each other in horror. They didn't expect that this bald turkey would come uninvited and directly come up. Su Yi and Mou couldn't help but be afraid of such a talking turkey. They were secretly vigilant. Su Yi subconsciously hugged the blazing sky dragon egg in his arms a little tighter. Rumble! Bang! 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 The majestic mountain peak completely exploded. Amidst the flashes of lightning and the rumbling of thunder, rolling lava spewed out along with monstrous flames. The huge rumbling sound pressed down on the surrounding layers of the void. The erupting lava smashed down the mountain peak's rocks, pushed them high into the sky, and then fell back down. It left behind thousands of fiery red streaks in the smoke-covered sky and scattered into the distance. The entire huge mountain peak also collapsed. A large number of huge rocks poured down with a rumbling sound. That kind of shock was hard to describe with words. Oh, whoa. This was a devastating disaster. Many of the barbarian frost wolves that couldn't escape in time were swept up by the lava and turned into ashes in an instant. Some of the barbarian frost wolves didn't even have time to scream before they were swallowed by the lava. At this moment, the experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance had no choice but to retreat under this volcanic eruption. Their eyes were filled with shock. What a terrifying volcanic eruption. It's beyond ordinary. That terrifying movement made Mou, who was standing on the back of the fiery savage bird, tremble. This doesn't seem normal. Chapter 174. The bald chicken looked at the erupting volcano behind it. It flapped its wings and patted its chest with one of its fleshy wings. Its eyes were wide open, and it looked like it had a lingering fear. It kept muttering, "Scare me to death, scare me to death." Luckily, roar. So he didn't have the time to pay attention to this uninvited bald chicken. Magma erupted from the collapsed mountain, and flames surged into the sky. The enormous figure of the blazing sky flood dragon roared furiously, its voice shaking the heaven and earth. "Quick dodge," Su Yi said to the blazing sky flood dragon. He couldn't let the blazing sky flood dragon discover that he had stolen the egg. The surrounding beasts were alarmed, and ferocious birds filled the sky. No one noticed Su Yi and Mou on the blazing sky flood dragon. "Humans, you are too shameless. I'm not done with you." An astonishing voice spread out amidst the lightning and thunder. For some reason, The blazing sky flood dragon in the distance charged towards the wild dragon mercenary group like it had gone mad. Cheng Jian was secretly shocked. He didn't know why the blazing sky flood dragon suddenly went berserk. The others weren't a match for the blazing sky flood dragon and immediately rushed to stop it. Rumble. The volcano erupted not far away, shaking the surroundings. Bang bang. The battle between Cheng Jian and the blazing sky flood dragon instantly intensified. Roar. When the experts among the frost barbarian wolves saw so many of their cubs and tribesmen drowning in the magma and died, they seemed to have blamed the wild dragon mercenary group for it and charged out as well. In the distance, Su Yi didn't dare to stay any longer. While trembling with fear, he ordered the blazing sky flood dragon to stay as far away as possible. The sounds in the distance were getting softer and softer, but Su Yi was still worried. After 2 hours, he ordered the blazing sky flood dragon to find a hidden place to rest. They will find us. In a hidden cave in a valley, the blazing sky flood dragon said to Su Yi, telling Su Yi not to worry. The blazing sky flood dragon and the golden python would find this place. Huff! Su Yi took a deep breath. He cut a sorry figure. His hair was disheveled, and there was still lingering fear in his heart. Originally, with the threat of the blazing sky flood dragon, Su Yi was already nervous enough after stealing the treasure and obtaining the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Who would have thought that they would encounter such a situation in the end? It was simply frightening. Fortunately, the fiery savage bird had arrived in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Mou's current situation was not much better than Su Yi's. Her hair was disheveled, and her beautiful face was filled with shock. What is this place? You guys sure have guts, daring to steal the eggs of that big snake. The bald turkey collapsed on the ground, but her eyes were fixed on the egg in Su Yi's arms. Her eyes darted around. Who are you? Su Yi and Mou asked almost simultaneously. At that moment, the two of them were also staring at the bald chicken. This turkey that could speak the human language had a mysterious origin. It had been following them all this time, making Su Yi and Mou worried and vigilant. The blazing sky flood dragon withdrew its wings and curiously sized up the bald turkey. There was a strange look in its eyes, as if it could vaguely feel something and did not dare to approach it. Who am I? Who am I? Hearing this, the bald turkey muttered to itself. It did not know why, but its eyes became blank, as if it had really forgotten who it was. Looking at the bald turkey's reaction, Su Yi and Mou were secretly surprised. Could it be that the bald turkey had lost its memory? Did you lose your memory? Su Yi looked at the bald turkey. Being able to speak the human language proved that this turkey was not simple. It was at least a demon illusionary stage barbaric beast. How could a demon illusionary stage expert lose its memory just like that? It's not memory loss. I can't remember. It seems like something very big happened. When I woke up, I met you. The bald turkey looked at Su Yi and Mou. Its eyes were a little hazy. Have you reached the demon illusionary stage? Su Yi raised his eyebrows. Looking at the bald turkey's reaction, it did not seem like it was lying. I don't know. My cultivation seems to have disappeared. I don't remember anything. The bald turkey was at a loss. It lowered its head slightly, as if it was trying to think of something, hoping to remember something. Su Yi and Mou exchanged a look, not daring to be careless. Su Yi had to be on guard against this uninvited bald turkey. However, looking at the way it escaped from the mountain peak, Su Yi guessed that this bald turkey did not seem like a demon illusionary stage expert. Perhaps its cultivation had regressed. I really can't remember. Don't think about it. After a moment, the bald turkey shook its head. It looked at Su Yi and Mou with a smile, and finally stared at the blazing sky flood dragon egg that Su Yi was holding. Its voice was clear and melodious, but it was clear that it was a male voice. It said, "But I feel that if I eat this egg, it should be beneficial to my recovery." As it spoke, the bald turkey looked at the blazing sky flood dragon egg in Su Yi's arms. Its sharp mouth was almost drooling. "This is mine. He stared at the bald turkey and hugged the egg a little tighter. This bald turkey actually had ideas about the blazing sky flood dragon egg. This is that big snake's egg, right? You stole it. Believe me, this egg will definitely taste good. Let's eat it together. If that big snake finds out that its egg is in your hands, then the consequences, hee. The bald chicken looked at Sue E and laughed. Saliva dripped from its mouth, and its eyes darted around. Its sharp mouth was smiling like a human. Even though it was smiling, the threat was self-evident. Sue E stared at the bald turkey and couldn't help but think of a word, and that was despicable. It was clearly a bald chicken, but it gave Sue E a feeling of despicableness. However, the bald turkey called the blazing sky flood dragon a big snake, which made Sue E secretly vigilant. Hairless turkey, where did you come from? Mou opened her mouth and asked the bald turkey, frowning. You're the chicken. I'm a peacock, not a chicken. The bald turkey's sneaky eyes suddenly darkened as it glared at Mou. You are a peacock. Mou was stunned, and so was Sue E. Sue E had never seen a peacock before, but he had heard of it in both his previous and current life. Li knew 1J Max, C% Fast O, BP especially in this world. Peacocks were legendary existences that stood at the pinnacle of the demon clan. It was said that no trace of the peacock clan could be found anymore. There were even rumors that it was impossible for peacocks to exist in this world. It was rumored that the peacock race had long disappeared from ancient times. After being stunned for a moment, Mou couldn't help but giggle. She pointed at the bald chicken and said, You, peacock, with your appearance, you can't even compare to a rooster. Chapter 175. Who are you calling ugly? Mou immediately stared at the bald turkey. Although her face was a bit disheveled, her eyebrows were curved and her eyes were big and beautiful. Her temperament was outstanding. Although she was only 15 or 16 years old, she was already tall and slender. Her figure was exquisite and curvaceous. She was simply a peerless beauty. She was as beautiful as a fairy. Sometimes she was pure, and sometimes she was tempting like a witch. Ugly really had nothing to do with her. Look at you. Your waist is so small, your butt is so small. Fortunately, I'm not a human. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't look at a woman like you. The bald turkey pointed at Mou. Her short wings were pointing up and down. She looked very old and serious. Sue couldn't help but laugh. He didn't expect this woman to be despised by a bald turkey. Looking at the bald turkey's appearance, Sue couldn't help but laugh. Rolling her eyes at Sue Mou's lips curled up. Her beautiful eyes were already burning with anger. She glared at the bald turkey and said, You bald turkey, believe it or not, I'll roast you and eat you. I'll say it again. I'm a peacock. Being called a turkey, and a bald turkey at that. The bald turkey's face couldn't help but darken. She clenched her teeth and looked like she was going to bite someone. Is a peacock like you? You're worse than a rooster. Even if you were a rooster, I'm afraid no hen would look at you with your appearance. Mou put her hands on her hips. She was actually called ugly by a bald turkey. Her waist wasn't big enough and her butt was too small. Was this bald turkey blind? A big waist and a big butt? How ugly would that be? She didn't dare to imagine. Ignorant human. The bald turkey shook her head. She looked at Sue and said, Young man, is this woman your wife? How could you be with this kind of woman? Divorce her. This woman's mouth is poisonous and ugly. She's not worthy of you. She'll lower your temperament. I'll find you a beautiful one later. She's not my wife. Sue was happy. This chicken really had good eyesight, knowing that his temperament was outstanding. However, if this woman was his wife, Sue thought about it and decided to forget about it. Bald chicken, you're dead. Mou finally couldn't take it anymore. This chicken actually dared to talk about her like that. Moreover, how was she not a match for that young man? She even lowered her temperament. She didn't say anything else. This was something that no woman could tolerate. Boom! Mou directly made his move. His aura surged, and his palm directly shot towards the bald turkey. Waves of yuan Chi swept towards the bald turkey. Women are indeed unreasonable. The bald turkey shouted, and at the same time flapped its wings. That seemingly short body of the turkey fled very quickly, and in a way, it just happened to dodge Mou's palm. Today, I will definitely barbecue you. Mou was furious. Her lovable face flipped out, and her tall and slender body twisted, revealing her curves. She once again raised her hand, and her 10 slender fingers spread out. Yuan Qi emitted from her fingertips, and a blood-red radiance was emitted. The radiance filled the air and directly enveloped the bald turkey. You can't do anything to an origin profound realm woman. You're so ugly and so fierce. I'm afraid that no one will want you in this lifetime. The bald turkey's expression changed. It flapped its wings and continuously retreated, but its mouth was unforgiving. Damn bald chicken. Mou was so angry that her cheeks flushed red. She bit her red lips, and rays of light gushed out from her body. Her hair fluttered in the wind, and her eyes were fixed on the bald turkey. Don't hurt the innocent. He retreated. He couldn't let the innocent be hurt, and his gaze secretly changed. He secretly sized up Mou and the bald turkey's strength. Mou was very strong, but she still hadn't reached the origin spirit realm. H, original initials are. Hair 5BSU, estimated that Mou's cultivation should be around the 7th or 8th level of the origin profound realm. This mysterious bald turkey, who called itself a peacock, could speak the human language. This was the mark of a demonic illusionary beast expert. But now, He felt that the bald turkey, who called itself a peacock, could only hide. It looked very miserable and was relying on its speed and unusual transformations to make Mou helpless. It didn't have any trace of an expert's temperament. He also felt that this bald turkey didn't seem to be pretending. If it was really a demonic beast expert, then no one would pretend to be this miserable bald turkey. But because of this, he was even more confused about the origins of this bald turkey that could speak the human language. It seemed even more strange and mysterious. The blazing savage bird had also retreated to Su Yi's side. It was also secretly dumbfounded by the battle between Mou and the bald turkey. But at this moment, the blazing savage bird was only cautious, afraid that the battle between the bald turkey and Mou would hurt Su Yi. Rumble. Mou seemed to be really angry. She didn't show any mercy as she chased after the bald turkey around the cave. But the cave wasn't big, so Mou couldn't use her full strength. The bald turkey's body was very small. Even though its wings were small, they flapped very quickly. It fled around the cave, leaving Mou helpless. But it was becoming more and more miserable. Woman, I was wrong, okay? You're the most beautiful, and you have a kind heart. You're the symbol of beauty, okay? As if it felt Mou's anger and became more and more miserable, the bald turkey changed its tone and began to admit defeat. Don't talk nonsense. You're just a featherless chicken with a cheap mouth. Today I'll roast you and eat chicken legs. Mou refused to give up. She was still angry. Young man, talk to your woman. You know you're not safe yet. If you attract that big snake and it knows you stole its eggs, you'll be dead. The bald turkey fled as it spoke to Su. Forget it, we're not safe yet. Su Yi's expression changed as he said to Mou. The bald turkey was right. This place wasn't necessarily safe. If they made too much noise with the blazing sky flood dragon strength, they would be easily discovered. Humph. Mou slowly withdrew her aura and the blood aura on her body faded. She glared at the bald turkey and suppressed her anger. She was indeed afraid of attracting the blazing sky flood dragon. Oh, my lord, are you all right? At this time, the hell rat, white jade mystic bird, silver spirit butterfly, scarlet flame demon mink, Debeo, Xiaoling, and the others found this place and entered the cave. The fire-eyed tiger, golden python, and the others were outside the cave. The cave couldn't accommodate their size. I'm fine. Seeing that the scarlet flame demon mink and the others were safe, Su-yi felt relieved. But when they saw the bald turkey in the cave, the scarlet flame demon mink, and the others were astonished. Phew, I'm so tired. Chapter 176. I'm going out to scout the situation. Mou glared at the bald turkey. She walked out of the cave with her graceful figure and anger still lingering on her face. Su-yi didn't say anything. In any case, the most valuable item was the blazing sky flood dragon egg. He wasn't afraid that Mou would leave. She left? That woman is too irritable. The bald chicken watched Mou leave. His beady eyes rolled as if he was relieved. He looked at Su-yi and said, "Young man, I'm telling you, this woman has a small waist and a small butt. She's not easy to give birth to, and she has such a bad temper. You should think twice." Su-yi rolled his eyes. This bald turkey's mouth was really cheap. No wonder Mou wanted to roast it. All right, you seem to know the language of beasts. I remember that a long time ago, there were experts who knew the language of beasts. The bald turkey looked at the fiery red marten, and the others. Immediately after, he looked pensive as if he was trying to remember something. However, the bald turkey didn't succeed. He couldn't remember anything. He looked at the scarlet flame, bewitching sable, and the others. At first, he didn't think much of it, but then his expression changed. He looked at the scarlet flame, bewitching sable, and the others. He couldn't help but be shocked as he said, "Hey, they don't seem ordinary. This kind of aura shouldn't appear on these bloodlines. It's impossible. Master, is this a chicken?" Dabeo and Xiaoling climbed onto Su-yi's arm. They raised their little heads and looked at the bald turkey curiously. "Have you seen such a beautiful chicken?" The bald turkey stared at Big Bao and Little Ling angrily. It wanted to explain, but when it looked at itself, it immediately pulled a long face. It couldn't even look at itself. Yeah, the bald turkey sighed. He was very depressed and didn't say anything. Not long after, Mou came back. She was carrying several chickens. Yes, they were chickens. Each of them weighed no less than 20 jin. They were very big and had colorful feathers. "My luck isn't bad," Mou said, glaring fiercely at the bald broiler. "Stew it in soup and roast it in a delicious way. It's good for healing injuries." Holding the jade spirit chicken in her hand, Mou stared fiercely at the bald broiler. "Is there anything to eat?" The bald turkey didn't care. His eyes shined. "Come help." Mou called Su-yi to help pluck the feathers. There was no pot to stew them. She could only roast them. It didn't take long for Mou to roast the 6 jade spirit chickens that had been stripped of their feathers. Their bodies were sparkling and translucent, and they emitted a fragrant glow. Su-yi's eyes moved. He was no stranger to barbecue in his previous life, but he didn't expect Mou to be so special. Not long after, the roasted meat began to sizzle. Drops of meat oil slowly slid down the chicken skin that had already begun to burn, and the aroma of meat permeated the air. The aroma of this jade spirit chicken was too special. Su-yi's gluttony was aroused. He couldn't help but swallow. Dabeo, Xiaoling, and the hell rat raised their heads. They didn't seem to have much resistance in front of this aroma. "Is it cooked? Can we eat it?" The bald chicken was already waiting in front of Mou. Licking its face, it spoke to her intimately. "Do you want to eat your own kind? After all, you're all chickens." Mou looked at the bald turkey indifferently. "No, I'm really a peacock. This chicken has nothing to do with me." The bald turkey laughed. Saliva was already dripping all over the ground. "Okay, we can eat now." In a moment, all the jade spirit chickens were cooked. The aroma filled the cave. "Do you want to try some?" Mou said to Su-yi. She had already torn off a large drumstick and started munching on it. Suddenly, her beautiful face and curvaceous figure looked completely out of place. Su-yi was originally hesitant. He had to be on guard. This woman was not ordinary. It was better to be on guard. It would be bad if Mou secretly drugged him. But the jade spirit chicken in front of him was clean by him. He also saw Mou roasting it right under his nose. There shouldn't be any problems. Moreover, Su-yi knew that Mou didn't have any knockout drugs or poison on her. The spatial bag was something he had returned to her. He had already searched it carefully. He had also been with MOU for the past few days. So, it shouldn't be possible for her to drug him. First shot. It's not for you. Go away. Suddenly, MOU shouted softly and stood in front of the bald chicken to block its path. It turned out that the bald turkey was about to do it, but was stopped by MOU. Just give me one. You're roasting it so fragrant that I'm almost drooling. The bald turkey looked at MOU with a pitiful expression. Didn't you say I was ugly? MOU glared at the bald turkey. Her anger hadn't subsided. No, I was blind. I was jealous of your beauty. In fact, you're devastatingly beautiful. You're as beautiful as a fairy. You're the most beautiful human being. You're the embodiment of beauty. This little brat isn't worthy of you. He's the one standing next to you, which affects your temperament and beauty. The bald turkey's face was serious, but its eyes were glued to the jade spirit chicken. Hearing this, Sui glared at the bald turkey. This bald turkey really was despicable. That's more like it. I'll forgive you for now. MOU's lips curled up. She tossed a whole chicken to the bald turkey. I knew you were the most beautiful. The bald turkey couldn't wait any longer. Although its wings were small, it directly caught the jade spirit chicken, which was who knows how many times larger. It immediately began to eat. Delicious, really delicious. As it gnawed, it said, not greasy, not smelly, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, delicious on the inside. It has a unique flavor. Sui finally couldn't hold it in any longer. He tore off 2 chicken wings and gave them to Debeo and Xiaoling, who were on his shoulders. He didn't care about how hot it was and took a big bite. It had been a long time since he ate like this. Not bad. Sui couldn't help but sigh in admiration. He didn't know if it was MOU's cooking skill or the jade spirit chicken's meat that was good. The chicken meat was hot and bubbling, and its aroma overflowed. It was as if it was naturally delicious. As soon as the chicken entered his mouth, it was tender, smooth, and crispy. In an instant, Sui's mouth began to dance. The fragrance of the meat reached the tip of his tongue. Thank you for saving us this time. Give me one as well. MOU handed one to the blazing savage. If it weren't for the blazing savage, everyone would have been in trouble. The blazing savage looked at Sui, waiting for Sui to speak. Try it. It's not bad. Sui nodded. Seeing Sui nod, the blazing savage had been holding back its saliva for a long time. It immediately didn't hold back. You guys try some too, but don't eat too much. Chapter 177. Oh, it smells so good. The golden python, flame-eyed barbaric tiger, and the others had never eaten a roasted jade spirit chicken before. They immediately shared it outside the cave. But with their appetites, even though the jade spirit chicken was not small, it was only enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. The bald chicken, on the other hand, was holding a jade spirit chicken that was several times bigger than itself and eating heartily, not caring about its image at all. From afar, a bald chicken was holding a roasted chicken and gnawing on it. This was very surprising. 2 chicken wings were also swallowed by Debeo and Xiaoling in one gulp. It was hard to imagine how these 2 little things swallowed them. Their small bodies seemed to have a separate space, and there was no trace of them at all. Looking at Debeo and Xiaoling's eager eyes, Sui had no choice but to tear 2 more pieces for the 2 little guys. Sui did not hold back and wolfed down the rest of the jade spirit chicken. So full, so delicious, the bald chicken actually finished the entire jade spirit chicken faster than Sui. Its small belly was so full that it almost fell to the ground. Its entire body seemed to have doubled in size, and its short wings flapped its round belly as it burped nonstop. It was hard to imagine how it managed to stuff a jade spirit chicken that was even bigger than itself into its stomach. Sui was also very full. It had been a long time since he had eaten like this. More importantly, this jade spirit chicken was just as MOU had said. Eating had great benefits. Sui could clearly feel that the chicken in his stomach contained traces of energy that spread throughout his body. This energy was very gentle, as if it could nourish his bones, muscles, and limbs. It made him feel warm. Am I really full? Why do I feel so dizzy? The bald chicken's body began to sway. It wanted to slap its head, but its wings were too short. Before it could finish its sentence, it fell to the ground. Why am I dizzy too? Before DeBeo could finish speaking, it fell from Su Yi's shoulder, followed by Xiaoling Su. He also felt dizzy and groggy. Oh no! Su Yi was shocked. He looked at Mou, and his vision started to blur. In his line of sight, Su Yi saw a smile on Mou's face. The corners of her lips curled up as if everything was within her expectations. I'm so dizzy. Outside the cave, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other barbaric demon beasts slowly fell to the ground and fainted. Su Yi circulated his energy, wanting to resist. The primordial origin supreme technique immediately circulated, and the art of heaven controlling in his mind activated, wanting to keep his soul awake. But it seemed to be too late. Su Yi was getting dizzier and dizzier. His vision was hazy, and his eyelids couldn't help but overlap. Then he fell to the ground. Inside the cave, only Mou was completely unaffected. She had a triumphant smile on her face. When Su Yi woke up, his head was still dizzy, but his consciousness was clear. However, his body was limp, and he couldn't summon any strength. Su Yi opened his eyes and looked at the cave. There was no trace of Mou in the cave. Oh no, the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Su Yi's first reaction was to look for the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. 4% in new chapter, it's gone. Just as Su Yi predicted, the blazing sky flood dragon's egg was indeed gone. It had disappeared without a trace like Mou. It was no longer in the cave. Inside the cave, DeBeo, Xiaoling, the silver spirit butterfly, and the hell rat were still lying on the ground, unconscious. I was tricked. There was something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Su Yi was absent-minded. He thought that there must be something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Maybe it was drugged by Mou. At this moment, he was the only one awake. With the hell rat and the silver spirit butterfly's cultivation, they ate the least amount of jade spirit chicken, but they were still lying on the ground. Su Yi guessed that it was because he had used the art of driving the heavens and the origin supreme art at the last moment. Su Yi wanted to get up, but his body wouldn't listen to him. After a while, he barely had enough strength to sit up. Save me! Save me! Suddenly a cry for help sounded. Su Yi looked toward the source of the voice and was stunned. In the corner of the cave, the jade spirit chicken was roasting on the bonfire, but now flames were roaring. As for the bald chicken, its wings were wrapped by a special kind of tree vine, and it was being burned on the bonfire. Help! Who can save me? The bald chicken shouted at the top of its lungs. It seemed that its body was powerless. Its voice wasn't loud, and it didn't have any strength left. When the bald chicken saw that Su Yi was awake, it immediately asked for help from Su. Young man, help me. It must be that woman. There's something strange about the jade spirit chicken. We were tricked. I also know that there's something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Su Yi raised his eyebrows. At this moment, he wanted to chase after the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, but he didn't have any strength left. He didn't need to guess to know that the woman had been holding back a bellyful of evil. Her goal was the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. You save me first. I'm about to be roasted. The bald chicken cried for help, and tears almost flowed out of its eyes. Su Yi rolled his eyes at the bald chicken. Although it was being roasted on the bonfire, nothing happened to it. Even the layer of feathers on its body didn't fall off. The fire didn't seem to have any effect on it. Checking his body, Su Yi found that there was nothing wrong with his body. It was just that he couldn't muster any strength. Moreover, all his space bags were still there. Not a single one was missing. This surprised Su Yi. That woman seemed to have only taken the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Young man, hurry up and save me. Seeing that Su Yi wasn't moving, the bald chicken was very depressed and kept crying for help. Why should I save you? Su Yi said indifferently. He was depressed. If he didn't eat the jade spirit chicken, how could that woman have the opportunity to take the blazing sky flood dragon's egg? Although he didn't lose any of his space bags, it seemed that Mo had found her conscience. However, Sui knew that the things in his Chinquan bag weren't even 1,000th of the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. If it wasn't for the fiery savage bird, that woman would have been buried in the volcanic eruption. Sui guessed that the woman must have found her conscience, which was why she didn't want to take his space bag anymore. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.